Northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts up to 25 miles per hour.
So we're breaking records today from 1890.
Wednesday night, clear in the evening.
I'm going to just run through. We're breaking records from 1890.
Cold blows around 30. Northwest winds around 5 miles per hour in the evening.
The last time it was this something or other.
Thursday, partly sunny. Highs in the lower 40s.
I didn't hear spotter activation.
Thursday night,
spotter activation.
Lows in the upper 30s.
Spotter activation may be required, but I cannot confirm or deny.
Highs in the lower 50s. Friday night, mostly clear. Cold with lows around 30. Saturday and Saturday night, clear. Highs in the mid-40s. Lows in the mid-20s. Sunday, sunny. Highs in the mid-40s. Sunday night, partly cloudy in the evening, then becoming mostly cloudy. Lows in the mid-30s. Monday, mostly cloudy with a 50% chance of rain showers.
What
Monday
is the
night,
connection
showers likely.
Me looking at the
Lows
keyboard?
In the lower 40s. Chance of rain 60%. Tuesday, partly sunny.
Oh, okay.
Highs in the mid-50s.
What's the connection?
Chance of rain 40%. Here are the 7 p.m. observations for the Northeast Piedmont. At the Raleigh-Durham Airport, it was partly cloudy. The temperature was 45 degrees, the dew point 31, and the relative humidity 58%. The wind was south at 3 miles an hour. The pressure was 30.22 inches and steady. At Burlington, it was mostly cloudy. The temperature was 44 degrees, the dew point 30, and the relative humidity 57%. The wind was calm. The pressure was 30.20 inches and steady. Elsewhere across the state this hour, at Asheville, it was cloudy, with a temperature of 46. At Charlotte, it was partly cloudy, with a temperature of 50. At Greensboro, it was mostly cloudy, with a temperature of 48. In Roxborough, it was clear, with a temperature of 41. At Lillington, it was clear, with a temperature of 48. At Lewisburg, it was clear, with a temperature of 45. At Fayetteville, it was clear, with a temperature of 49. At the Rocky Mount Wilson Airport, it was clear, with a temperature of 44. At Wilmington, it was clear, with a temperature of 49. At Cape Hatteras, it was clear, with a temperature of 55. The Raleigh-Durham International Airport climate summary for this evening, as of 4:41 p.m., January 19, 2021. Today's high temperature was 57 degrees. This high was 6 degrees above the normal high of 51. The record high is 73 degrees, which was set in 2001. Today's low temperature was 27 degrees. This low was 4 degrees below the normal low of 31. The record low is 2 degrees, which was set in 1994. No precipitation fell today, which leaves the monthly total at 2.91 inches.
You said 1890.
This is 0.76 inches above the normal amount of 2.15 inches for January. The total precipitation for the year still stands at 2.91 inches, which is 0.76 inches above normal. No snow fell today, which brings the monthly total to a trace.
Right up and make it
the total snowfall for the season
temperature
refers
rising.
Stands
the
at
pressure
trace.
is increasing.
The normal high temperature for tomorrow is 51 degrees, and the normal low is 31. The record high for tomorrow is 74, which last occurred in 1890, and the record low is -3, which occurred in 1985. Sunset tonight is at 5:29 p.m.
Oh, yeah, North Carolina is
at
definitely part of Big Margee. With weather like that, it has to. Because that weather, this whole quadrant of the fucking island
was 25 degrees. No precipitation.
You get a hurricane, we get the rain from that. We know because it smells like salt water and fucking weird ocean shit.
8:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
What is going on here?
The air quality forecast for Wednesday in Orange County is
share my fucking
green.
link? What the fuck?
Air quality is expected to be good, with the primary pollutant of small particulate. This is NOAA Weather Radio, all hazards station WXL58, operating on frequency 162.55
MHz. Swipe it away before I...
This program originates from the National Weather Service in Raleigh and is transmitted from an antenna located on the UNC TV tower near Chapel Hill.
71 or 74? It almost doesn't matter. SoundCloud has stopped. That's good.
Here is the latest weather synopsis.
Pretty sure
High pressure over the southeast states will push southward tonight as a dry cold front crosses the mid-Atlantic states and Carolinas. This will be followed by another high pressure area Wednesday and Thursday.
Jesus, fuck it. It'll be for exactly as long as it takes for us to miss the first 3 minutes of the news. Watch. I couldn't showcase what these people are up to any better. One thing after another.
Rest of tonight, partly cloudy.
I used this for a year with no problems. All of a sudden, it doesn't work for shit. What exactly is the problem? If I stand right next to this camera for 45 minutes, nothing. I leave my head in once. Oh, shit, he's still there.
2020 unveils its key pavilions.
It's a rat trap, brethren, and it's
now today's top stories. Rescue efforts are still underway following a gold mine explosion that trapped 22 miners underground over 10 days ago in Shandong province. 12 of the miners were located after a drill hole reached a depth of roughly 580 meters. One of the trapped miners is now in a coma. One of this, we're joined by Hong Yue in Qixia. Good morning, Hong Yue. And first of all, if you can tell us about the condition of the trapped miners.
Good morning, Shane. At about 6 p.m. yesterday, medical workers on the site learned from the phone conversation with the trapped miner that one of the 11 people who've already been reached has been in a coma due to severe head injuries in the explosion, and 2 have been in mild discomfort. The rest 8 of them are in stable physical conditions. These miners also said that another person who's at depth of about 633 meters also got some injuries, but they are not clear about his condition since they are trapped in 2 different tunnels. And doctors have taught the miners the basic knowledge of how to take care of the person who has lost consciousness, and asked them to give feedback in a timely way.
How many of them has an Apple Watch that can tell his temperature or something?
Sunday when a drill hole reached the tunnel. And rescuers have delivered nutrient solutions, medication, thermometers, blankets, paper, and pencils down through the drill hole since then. And also a waterproof telephone has also been sent to them, so it's more convenient for experts and medics to communicate with these miners. And actually, last night, rescuers received another note from the trapped miners asking for one more telephone. This is because the drill hole, which is about 20 centimeters, is so narrow that rescuers have to retrieve the telephone wire every time after the conversation. Otherwise, the supplies will be unable to be delivered. But miners are worried they would lose contact with the people on the surface again if there's something wrong with the telephone they've got. As a result, the rescuers soon delivered some more waterproof telephones down to the tunnel as a backup. And yesterday, the miners said they want to eat some pickles, ham sausages, and milk congee. The doctors on the site said these miners have been trapped underground for so many days without any food, and some of them are too sensitive to handle the pickles or sausages. And after discussion, doctors agreed to deliver some milk congee and probiotic yogurt in addition to nutrient drinks. An expert team dispatched by China's National Health Commission arrived at the rescue site yesterday, and they will be in contact with the trapped miners to keep track of their physical and psychological condition.
And Hong Yue, what's the latest on the rescue operation itself?
Firstly, I want to explain a little bit of background here. There are only 2 ways of lift the trapped miners to the ground. One is through the returner shaft. You can simply think of it as the entrance of the mine. But the explosion happened at a depth of about 240 meters in the shaft, and now a lot of debris has been stuck there. And clearing up these debris has been one of the most difficult things in the rescue operation so far. And the other way is to lift the miners through a drill hole with a larger diameter. So on the side, clearing up the debris in the shaft while drilling holes at the same time, rescuers are doing the two things together. So yesterday, 2 drill holes were added to the site. That makes 10 drill holes in total, among which number 1 and number 3 holes have been already reached the tunnels where some miners are trapped. Number 2 and number 5 have been abandoned, either because the drill bits were stuck in the cracks underground, or there has been deviation. And number 4, number 6, number 9 will be used as the supportive detecting channels. Number 7 and number 8 will be used to pump the groundwater. So number 10, the newly added one, will be used as the other rescue channel, and the machine will start work on drilling very soon. So there are now 17 teams, over 500 rescuers, and nearly 400 pieces of machinery on the site, working around the clock to rescue the miners. And the debris stack in the shaft has been cleared to the depth of about 350 meters, which is still some distance away the trapped miners, because they're at a depth of about 600 meters. But instead of using the small hoisting cage, rescuers are now using a 3-layer lift, which is larger and more efficient to transport the rescuers down to the shaft to work on the clearance.
Thank you very much for the update. That was Wang Wei reporting from the site of the mining accident in Qixia, Shandong province. Coming up, rising profits for China's central state-owned enterprises.
The Beijing Hour. The Beijing Hour.
The dog will start acting weird and refuse to go down the hole or some shit. They'll dig through the rocks to get at each other, even if they can't. Even if they don't give a fuck about you. But they will give a fuck about you.
Today's big stories, as well as the most comprehensive business of the day. The Beijing Hour. Beijing Hour.
The toast song.
7 minutes past the hour now. Net profits of China's central state-owned enterprises expanded by more than 2% year-on-year in 2020, reaching 1.4 trillion yuan. And that's the equivalent of $215 billion US. Hong Huagang is from the State-Owned Asset Supervision and Administration Commission of the State Council. He says the sector is seeing a steady recovery.
The monthly revenues of central SOEs rose for 5 consecutive months. December saw the revenues reaching 3.7 trillion yuan, up 11.7% from last year to a historic high. In 2020, the combined revenues of central SOEs went down 2.2% year-on-year to 30 trillion yuan. But the decrease has slowed by 9.6 percentage points compared to the first quarter.
Around 80% of the central SOEs reported rising profits despite the COVID-19 pandemic. The official also highlighted efforts on reforms that aim at a more market-oriented development system for SOEs.
The scale of our mixed ownership reform keeps expanding. The central SOEs have attracted over $1.5 trillion worth of private investment in over 4,000 projects since 2013. The reform in key industries such as power, civil aviation, and telecommunication is going forward steadily. Listed companies have also become the major way for the mixed ownership.
State-owned enterprises.
Congress also established last year to support further reforms, as well as improve efficiency and governance systems. More efforts have also been made in deleveraging SOEs to reduce financial risk. In 2020, the debt-to-asset ratio of China's central SOEs dropped for the 4th consecutive year to 64.5%, and that's half a percentage point down from the year before. And with more on the performance of China's state-owned enterprises, Professor Liu Baocheng from the University of International Business and Economics.
2020 was the first year for the new round of reforms for the sector. What's your evaluation of these reform efforts so far?
Reform of SOEs have been underway for the last 20 years. It seems that they have not really reached the tipping point or reached the type of economic equilibrium, because they have to address the antithesis between monopoly and efficiency. Yes, they can enlarge their size. They can also earn more profit. However, this is not exactly what the government really wants from them. So they have to play a more market role in that regard. So I think now the reform will have to be there to streamline. Number one is that what is really market driven in terms of the business sectors, and what is there to perform the societal role, where the private enterprises are not interested in it because of the even negative profit. And the other is the how to
what the fuck is a negative profit?
Governance.
We're experiencing a bit of a negative profit situation right now, you know,
by
environmental
joint
conditions,
stock
COVID.
companies, by joint ventures, and by either equity or contractual arrangement. And they can, at least theoretically, to achieve the market profitability by the completely free operation in the marketplace. And while they still are able to combine the advantages of the type of responsibility of state-owned companies, and also the savvy operation of the private businesses.
To achieve a healthy economic development, how should the government balance between state-owned and the private sectors?
I think the very important line should be drawn between what is really completely market-driven when they are doing the pavement of the highways, when they are doing the public utilities. This is something that is really policy-driven. So certain
Italian construction companies, Portuguese concrete
can also be factored in. So this line is still blurred by at least by this moment. So the other is how the managers of those state-owned firms can really operate on market basis, according to the labor market. So they need really to flatten out the rigid bureaucracy and get engaged in market operation. So the ideology will have to change together with the improvement of governance. So this is the right approach.
That was Professor Liu Baocheng on the reform and development of SOEs in China. Well, some new trends have emerged in the employment of graduates from China's elite universities under the COVID-19 pandemic. Zhou Feng has more.
The employment rate of fresh graduates from China's top universities last year surpassed 90%, with more undergraduates choosing to further their education at home. Various provinces across China saw graduates stay where they went to college or go to nearby provinces to find jobs. Meanwhile, quite a few provinces and regions have rolled out preferential policies to attract talent from around the country. Yang Xuwei from a Labor and Employment Services Bureau in Kunming, Yunnan Province says the city launched a series of supportive measures for students who want to start their own businesses.
We have project mentors who will provide tutoring services for the students. We provide individuals who start their businesses with guaranteed loans, no interest loans, reductions in taxes, as well as capital subsidies. We also offer entrepreneurship services like training classes and other educational courses related to starting businesses to create a good environment of entrepreneurship for the students.
Many elite universities also found their students chose a flexible employment pattern rather than signing contracts with companies. For instance, more than 13% of the graduates from Tsinghua University, one of China's top universities, chose unconventional jobs, as opposed to around 7% who opted for labor contracts. Inevitably, many students who hadn't expected such a year beset with challenges and uncertainties had to pivot and reschedule their plans. Teng Yifei from the Beijing Film Academy, who has long been planning to work in the film industry, says he will temporarily work with an educational agency.
I'm now working at an art training agency to develop online products. I will probably stay in the agency for the following 2 years. The pandemic has changed everything. The next 2 or 3 years will be a transitional period, but I think many of us still want to film and create.
Huang Lanxi is an overseas returnee who is now a pioneer in producing milk tea for pets in China. She says her company was set up based on the latest consumption needs among young consumers.
It is good to happily drink milk tea together with your pet. I think young consumers in China now want more emotional and colorful life experiences. At the end of September 2020, our company had a total revenue of nearly 2 million yuan. The daily online and offline revenue stands at around 20,000 yuan.
The number of graduates in 2021 is estimated to reach more than 9,350,000 more than that of 2020. Experts say with good preparation and a good mentality, the students will eventually find their niche jobs. They also say students should pay more attention to job hunting skills, such as viewing further education and diplomas correctly and properly matching their personal qualifications with job requirements. For the Beijing Hour,
China's encouraging joint international scientific research based on the lunar samples recently retrieved by the Chang'e 5 probe. Wang Jie has more.
The China National Space Administration has released regulations on the proper storage, management, and use of lunar samples brought back by Chang'e 5 last month for scientific research and social benefits. The probe, launched in November last year, retrieved more than 1,700 grams of lunar material. About 80% of the samples will be used for scientific research, while the remainder will be stored. Pei Zhaoyu from the administration's Lunar Exploration and Space Engineering Center says they encourage international cooperation on studying the samples, and that the research results will be shared worldwide.
We encourage joint international scientific research on samples among scientists from China and abroad. We'll also conduct other works related to the samples in accordance with the agreement between the Chinese government, the CNSA, and relevant countries. This includes joint scientific research, display for public welfare purposes, exchange and communications, as well as presenting them as a gift.
The European Space Agency and agencies from countries including Argentina, Namibia, and Pakistan have assisted the Chang'e 5 mission. The ESP provided its support for tracking the spacecraft and providing ground station information to help scientists ascertain the probe's flight status, as there were blind spots where China's own stations won't be able to detect the spacecraft's movements due to the Earth's rotation. The CNSA has presented those agencies with commemorative badges to express their appreciation. Norbert Palouche from the French Embassy in Beijing says he is happy to see that China has provided a huge number of opportunities for international cooperation.
We come to a new step of cooperation, and a very impressive step. Yeah, there is some kind of a new dynamic towards Moon and Mars. So we have signed some letter of intent. Where I say yes, we as the French Space Agency with CNSA to look for cooperation on Chang'e 6. We have a dual instrument, so we are still working on it. It's not finalized, of course, but we are in a good way.
The Chinese and French space authorities signed a deal on space cooperation in 2019, agreeing that China will fly French experiments on its Chang'e 6 lunar mission. Officials say China has plans for more Chang'e missions to further advance its lunar exploration and work with other countries and international organizations to build an international lunar research station. For the Beijing Hour, I'm Wen Jie.
Many new professions in China's healthcare industry have improved the quality and efficiency of patient treatments.
What type of tea, though? Like orange pico?
Wang Lin is a nucleic acid tester in Chengdu, Sichuan province.
That wasn't even a job
after the coronavirus outbreak. His work includes helping people undergo nucleic acid tests and examining the test results. Wang Lin says, although the work has been tough during the pandemic, he's proud of what he's doing.
The success rate of our nucleic acid test
counts to a million
the accuracy of our test results.
And then does it again.
The demand for nucleic acid tests surges whenever any COVID-19 cases are confirmed. In Shijiazhuang, Hebei province, which has seen a surge in COVID-19 cases recently, over 10 million nucleic acid tests have been finished in only 3 days. Nucleic acid tester Wang Jiaxing says many of her colleagues have been working night and day.
We collect around 200 to 300 samples every day. Normally, we finish a batch by around midnight and start the new batch the next day. We seldom have time to rest and haven't gone back home for quite a while.
Psychological intervention therapist is another new healthcare profession that was newly established due to the impact of the pandemic. It focuses on providing psychological assistance after a public incident or emergency. Liu Zhongchuan with the Psychological Intervention Therapy Group of Hebei Province says they have helped many people, especially those who have lost their family members during the pandemic.
Some patients who have lost family members during the pandemic may chat with us for an hour, repeatedly talking about the situation of the lost ones, insisting that they haven't passed away. Some may call the hospital and ask whether the deceased have left any belongings.
And if you yell at them, you're not solving
anything. We will
anything.
provide long-term consultancy services and support them on special days or during festivals.
Many new healthcare professions have appeared due to the demand triggered by the pandemic. Other new professions include community health guides who offer online guidance to those who don't know how or where to seek medical help, and respiratory therapists who manage respirators to ensure that patients can breathe properly. For the Beijing Hour, I'm Zhu.
Coming up, U.S. deaths
all the
from
ventilators in the world do you
COVID-19
know good if the air being pumped around so bad, eh?
History is made up of stories. Put down that
makes
air spanning thousands of years, and instead follow the Makers and Shakers of Chinese History podcast, which presents the biographies of 20 historic figures who shaped the course of ancient China.
We have just been to the
Chinese rulers, ministers, thinkers, scientists, poets, and rebels. And
with
find
our
out how they
paper money to
continue
purchase
influence
paper
Chinese
books
to this day.
and their tradition
Subscribe
of Asia
to
and
Makers and
Africa.
Shakers of Chinese History for
Just
free
come back
on
with
your
all these
favorite
books and you're
podcast app.
telling us to put them down?
We're at 22 minutes past the hour. The United States has reached the grim milestone of 400,000 deaths caused by COVID-19. Data from Johns Hopkins University shows that New York has the largest number of deaths at more than 41,000. California is the second highest deaths with over 33,000, followed by Texas with more than 32,000. More than 24 million people have now tested positive for the coronavirus in the United States. The U.S. remains the country hardest hit by the pandemic, accounting for 25% of the global cases and nearly 20% of global deaths.
In the most recent
U.S. President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will be inaugurated later on today, tomorrow morning, Beijing time. The event will take place amid tight security after the assault on the U.S. Capitol on January the 6th. Central Washington's an armed fortress, fenced off with razor wire and surrounded by 25,000 National Guard troops. Deborah Olson's a D.C. resident since 2003, and she says this level of security is a first for her.
It's a little disorienting. It's a little, I'm not afraid, but it is a little disorienting. We live in downtown. We've lived here since 2003, and I've never seen anything like this. This is just kind of crazy. It's a ghost town. You don't usually see this on a, Tuesday in Washington, D.C.
Her son, Armo Olson-Lang, says that he's never seen the downtown area so empty.
Most paranoid state
usually
in the
there's
world.
just like 50 billion cars, and now there's not. There's like no cars.
Yeah, but there's trucks
and
everywhere.
Also, there's no people walking on the sidewalks, and even after the pandemic, there's still a lot of people walking on the sidewalks, and it's just like it's kind of weird because there's no people. And also, I'm used to seeing the Secret Service and the military and the police, but not in this quantity.
For the swearing-in ceremony, Joe Biden will be sworn in by Chief Justice John Roberts. Biden will then address the nation, and after that, there will be a virtual parade. With more on the inauguration, Guang Hao spoke to Jagruti Dave in Washington, D.C.
12 U.S. Army National Guard members have been removed from the presidential inauguration security mission after they were found to have ties with right-wing militia groups or posted extremist views. Please tell us more about the vetting process for the troops sent to the D.C. area for Biden's inauguration.
Well, officials aren't really disclosing anything about the vetting process for security reasons. I think there's a lot of questioning and a lot of examination going on of those who are involved in the security around the inauguration. Christopher Miller, the acting defense secretary, said over the weekend that the FBI was helping the U.S. military look into the 25,000 plus National Guard troops that are being deployed.
They're telling us there's 25,000. How many are there?
And you've got, the warnings from the FBI, also the possibility of right-wing groups masquerading as members of the National Guard. Although Pentagon officials have said that there is no evidence of an insider threat that's been found so far.
What are the other measures that have been taken to bolster security in the U.S. Capitol?
Well, as I say, we've got more than 25,000 National Guard in Washington, D.C. Capitol is surrounded by a ring of steel, really, right now, with razor wire topping of many of the fencing that's been put in place.
What fence rental companies you got? Is this like U.S. Army Special? Is there a fence division?
With military vehicles on the streets, areas where vehicles can't pass, metro closures, limited transport availability. There's a perimeter around the Capitol, so the complex and grounds are off limits. So these are just some of the unprecedented security measures that have been undertaken ahead of the inauguration.
What are the challenges that lie ahead for the Biden administration?
Well, I think his biggest challenge is arguably that of unifying
5 to 10% of his population is laid out with a cold, eh?
Going to be his message at the inauguration. It's
1
been
in
his
1,000
message in the
from,
speeches that he's given since the election, the lead up, whilst he was campaigning as well. But he takes the helm of a country that is probably at its most divided in modern history.
Yeah, shit. The most.
McConnell will become the minority leader later on this month when the
Very well. So what was it? 70-something tomorrow?
$15 minimum wage. While low-income workers have been hit hardest by the pandemic, no one says their problems didn't just start last year.
Well before COVID-19.
Tonight, partly cloudy.
We're not, because of the nature of COVID, having to sit in their homes and not being able to get out there and talk to people and have conversations. I don't think we're having true conversations. Also, we're Canadians, and we tend to we tend to, you know, when in tough times, we tend to go to the core and say, basically, we're going to stick together on this, and we're going to be Team Canada. And now I understand that of course, was the other talking point today that we missed. I don't know if we're going to get to it. It's the idea that we're not Team Canada, and you can push the blame for whatever's going on onto one of your premiers. But
yeah, well, he does that a lot. I mean, he does that a lot. But you know, to me, Lauren, it's inexcusable that the Prime Minister would not make phone calls on the most important issue to Canadians, which is the freedom of a vaccine. Why wouldn't he pick up the phone? He's the guy who's supposed to be charming.
But because I believe that nobody told them to. Nobody thought
really?
About it.
They
smacked their head today when all of a sudden the news got out that what was happening in Europe, that people were actually getting on the phone and talking directly to the CEO. And I really think that over the weekend they sat in a room, they go, how are we going to, what are we going to do with this one?
This is the problem when you let white people arrange the drug deal.
You know, instead of
they're all going to fix it
thinking
now.
we could just
do it this way. We got to do that way, buddy.
Oh, don't worry, it's just a 2-week delay. I truly believe they're not thinking. They just don't think about these things because there really is no other reason. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't Trudeau do that? There's no other. You can't say to yourself, well, there's got to be a reason. There is no reason. They just weren't smart enough to think about it.
Well, he talks to the UN every other second of the day.
But also something out there too, and we'll go back to a failure.
Is this the one in her son's bedroom closet?
Why is it that the Prime Minister of Canada and the federal government is the only government in the country where the top guy stands out by himself? When Doug Ford gets up, he's got ministers around him. Every other premier in this country gets up, they have their ministers around them. John Tory gets up, he has his people around him. Why is the Prime Minister the only standalone guy? This idea that we want to make him the focal point.
He's the Prime Minister, stupid. You want all 13 premiers to show up next to him because that's who you're asking for.
He can be the leader, as it would be for all of Canada. He's not. Maybe he doesn't have the people around him that are asking him the questions. Like, why didn't you call Pfizer?
Yeah, why didn't you? Can't think of a reason. Give me one political reason, any messaging reason, any reason you want that he wouldn't have done that. Except
he'll be the one guy that didn't bother the Pfizer guy.
I honestly cannot. There's any reason why he wouldn't have done that.
Well, you know, given that they didn't handle it from the beginning. I mean, they ignored it from day one. I mean, they've handled everything badly, so maybe they just didn't think about it.
I really, you try to come up with reasons, and you, well, I guess they're just not smart enough.
Yeah. Well, warned. All right, let me pause it there, guys, and then we'll jump back in.
What does that
mean? This was the theme of the day, and certainly the premier did have many things to say on it, and maybe, he'll show some leadership in Coal Pfizer. I bet you he does. We'll do that in round 2 of Counterpoint, brought to you by our good friends over at
No,
PTO.
he'll show up at his fucking house.
Stay with us here on Point. This is Global News Radio.
In life, the most important question anyone could ever ask is, will you marry me?
Not. Are we alone in the universe?
Well,
Or how did the brain name itself?
Okay, point taken. The most important question.
Repeat the shit about the mind.
With 83 billion parcels being delivered throughout the year, the country's imports of consumer goods increased. China welcomes the expected return of the United States to the Paris Agreement on climate change under the incoming U.S. administration of Joe Biden. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chunying made the remarks in response to media reports that the incoming Biden team plans to sign an executive order to return to the Paris Climate Agreement. Hua says China encourages all efforts that are conducive to international cooperation on climate change and will continue to work with the international community to actively implement the Paris Agreement on climate change. Official figures show that China's online retail sales of goods rose nearly 15% year-on-year to 9.8 trillion yuan, roughly $1.5 trillion in 2020. The Ministry of Commerce says China's had the largest online retail market in the world for 8 years in a row. Online retail sales accounted for a quarter of the country's total retail sales volume last year. Surging online sales boosted the courier sector with 83 billion parcels being delivered throughout the year. The country's imports of consumer goods increased by 8.2% year-on-year to roughly 1.6 trillion yuan. China successfully launched a new mobile telecommunications satellite from the Xichang Satellite Launch Center in Sichuan Province, developed by the China Academy of Space Technology. The Tiantong-1 satellite will establish a mobile network with ground facilities to provide all-weather and all-time communication services. It'll provide voice and short message services, as well as data for users in and around China, as well as in the Middle East, Africa, and most sea areas in the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Vice Premier Sun Chunlan has inspected Hebei province, urging swift and resolute actions curbing the recent resurgence of COVID-19 at several locations in the province. Sun toured Shijiazhuang, the provincial capital, where she visited local communities, an elderly care institution, a quarantine site, and a hospital. Sun called on departments and personnel to tighten the control over traffic flows at key locations in and around the province and conduct nucleic acid tests more frequently in medium and high-risk areas. As of 10 a.m. Tuesday, Hebei reported 822 locally transmitted cases, including 771 in Shijiazhuang, during the latest resurgence of COVID-19 since January the 2nd. Another 168 locally transmitted asymptomatic cases and 5 imported asymptomatic cases are under medical observation. British Health Minister Matt Hancock says he's self-isolating until Sunday after being exposed to an individual with COVID-19. He made the announcement on Tuesday in a video message posted on Twitter and encouraged people in Britain to also follow coronavirus rules.
This self-isolation is perhaps the most important part of all the social distancing, because I know from the app that I've been in close contact with somebody who's tested positive, and this is how we break the chains of transmission. So you must follow these rules, like I'm going to.
In the meantime, the number of people who've died from COVID-19 in the UK has surpassed 90,000. Official figures show more than 1,600 deaths were recorded on Tuesday, the highest in a single day since the pandemic started. Britain also reported over 33,000 new coronavirus cases on Tuesday. That's the lowest daily toll since the start of the year. More than 1.4 million people have now tested positive for the coronavirus in Britain. Really? Iraq has approved the emergency use of China's Sinopharm and Britain's AstraZeneca vaccines to contain the spread of COVID-19. The Iraqi Ministry of Health says the National Board of the Selection of Drugs approved the emergency use of both of those vaccines. The ministry says it's made all logistical preparations to receive the vaccines. This is Shane Bigham, live from the Chinese capital. Coming up in business, investment in China has been gaining momentum.
You're listening to the Beijing Hour, 60 minutes of comprehensive news, your window on China and the world.
It's 36 minutes past the hour now. In business, China's top economic regulator says investment in the country has been picking up steam, with the annual growth rate already nearing 3%. The National Development and Reform Commission says the recovery of investments being on a faster track since last April, helping to cushion the blow of the pandemic and fueling economic recovery. Official data shows that investment in new information and communication technology infrastructure and software reached a growth rate of nearly 20%. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that the country's GDP expanded 2.3% year on year in 2020, exceeding the 100 trillion yuan or 15.4 trillion US dollar threshold. Growth exceeded the 1.9% forecast of the International Monetary Fund released back in October. It confirmed that the world's second largest economy was one of the few to grow in 2020 and actually picked up steam as the year drew to a close. An OECD Outlook report predicts that China's contribution to global economic growth will exceed 1/3 in 2021. With more on this, Sui spoke with John Ross, Senior Fellow at the Chongyang Institute for Financial Studies at Renmin University.
What's your take on the rapid growth of investment in China over the past 9 months?
Well, this is showing the superiority of China's economic system. The recovery of investment is quite different to what's taking place in most countries. And what has happened in most countries is the effect of the pandemic has been to lead to a big fall in investment. And investment is one of the driving forces of the economy. This is one of the reasons why their economies are in recession. As people will know, the new data on China's the GDP shows growth of 2.3% in 2020. It's going to be the only major economy in the world which grew in 2020. So therefore, this is very good news about the situation on investment, and it shows the power of China's state sector and government policy.
And China's financial and macroeconomic policymakers have been stressing the importance of steady growth at the start of the new year. According to your observation, what does this tone signal in terms of investment possibilities in various sectors of the economy this year?
Well, the recovery in China has taken a very logical form. The initial recovery, which took place, let's say, in the second and third quarters, was very much started by large industry, by infrastructure investment. As the data show, industrial production is also very strong, mainly come from large companies. And gratifying in the last quarter of the year, this has been spread out from the big companies, which can play the leading role, and the state sector into affecting small enterprises. There was very good growth by small businesses in the fourth quarter this year. So this is very logical. From the strongest points of the economy, the very large companies, it's now spreading out throughout the whole economy, and it's been including very significant investment. So this is a very good pattern of development, and every indication is that the economy should continue to grow very well in 2021. The general predictions is about 8% growth rate for 2021.
And investors suspect China's economic strength will help underpin growth in the region. What opportunities should global investors be looking to grab in light of the momentum of China's growth?
Well, China is simply going to be the fastest growing market by an enormous amount during 2021. The IMF, which is not pro-China at all, I mean, it's not, it's fairly objective. Its estimate is that China will account for more than 60% of world growth in 2020 and 2021. And even if you take up the whole period up to 2025, China will account for more than 30% of world growth. So there's a lot of investment going into China from foreign companies because this is the fastest growing market in the world. It's also the growth of this market will indeed help, particularly the Asian region, to recover from the big problems which obviously existed during 2020. So this is shows that win-win is not simply a polite phrase. This is what really happened. It's good for what's happening in China, and it's good for other countries as well.
That was John Ross, Senior Fellow at the Chongyang Institute for Financial Studies at Renmin University, sharing his views on the recovery of investment in China. U.S. digital payment platform PayPal has taken all the remaining shares in China's GoPay. The move is part of the latest efforts of the company to tap into the vast payment market here in China. Chen Tong has more.
The company PayPal acquired GoPay technology has always kept a low profile. In 2019, GoPay made a revenue of more than 80 million yuan, but also took a big loss, more than 50 million yuan, while attracted PayPal's GoPay's operating licenses for a wider range of services, mobile, online, and cross-border yuan payments. PayPal bought a 70% stake in GoPay 2 years ago, but the whole takeover of the company has been kept very quiet. PayPal has said nothing about what kinds of businesses it hopes to do here, but the least likely is probably mobile
they're
payments.
an American bank. You have no
Chinese
idea
consumers' shopping habits are already pretty well fixed and not likely to easily change.
Probably not, unless they offer good discounts, in which case I'll try it. Otherwise, I'll stay with my old habits.
I've gotten used to Alipay and it's convenient. I don't want to use something new because I just have to set up my card with the new system.
PayPal does very well in overseas markets. In the third quarter of 2020, its net profits came in at more than $1 billion, a year-on-year jump of more than 120%. The thing is that China's payment market is so saturated. The latest report from the Payment and Clearing Association of China shows the most popular digital payments products in China are WeChat Pay, Alipay, and UnionPay. More than 90% of consumers using digital payments here choose WeChat Pay or Alipay. So many are expecting PayPal to specialize in cross-border settlements for outbound tourism or cross-border e-commerce payments. Foreign players like Visa and MasterCard have already been involved in cross-border settlements in China for decades. Consulting firm iResearch predicts China's online cross-border payments value will see an annual increase of more than 11% by 2022.
That was Chen Tong reporting on PayPal's latest efforts to expand its presence here in China. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in sports, the Chinese president's inspected Olympic competition venues in Zhengzhou.
The Beijing Hour.
Hello, I'm Peter Dinklage from X-Men Days of Future Past. You are listening to the Beijing Hour.
Hi, I'm Kathy Freeman, and you're listening to the Beijing Hour.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lang Lang. Welcome to the Beijing Hour.
The Beijing Hour, your window.
We're about to go to sports, right?
It's sending a signal, Melbourne is sending a signal to the rest of the world that we are the capital city of major events, and we want to remain that way. And
Chile rejected calls from some men's players to reduce matches to the best of 3 sets. There are 72 players now.
Yeah, stay tuned. All right, guys, I appreciate your time, and we'll talk another day. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Kelly Harris and Lauren Honigman joining us here tonight. We'll continue the conversation, but that is round 2 of Counterpoint, brought to you by our good friends over at Pizzaville. So, of course, tomorrow is Inauguration Day, which will be a nightmare for some, and but it is always historic. And we'll talk a little bit more about the security issues in the 9 o'clock hour, but certainly today, Donald Trump delivered his final farewell speech. Play you bits of that. There's the whole pardoning process of who got the pardon. And what Mitch McConnell said for the first time on the floor of the Senate. That and more coming up next. Stay with us here. Alex Pearson on point, and this is Global News Radio.
Time now for a check on the roads with a look at chopper traffic. Here's Ari Rabinovich.
And still a trouble-free drive on all the highways right now. Everything is moving well, including the 400 series highways, the Gardner, the DVP, and the Allen, and also Kipling. That is reopened at Belfield following that earlier crash.
Visit to play Cornella, as well as next weekend's La Liga clash away to LG.
Population should be immune to the coronavirus. So why is the city seeing such a huge surge? Lacerda says part of the reason could be reinfections.
So apparently what is happening is that people who had some small exposure to the virus in the past are becoming infected now.
Since the spring, people's immunity could have waned. On top of that, Manaus, like the UK, has a new version of the virus that's spreading very quickly.
So it's different, your body don't recognize.
This new variant, called P1, has about 20 mutations, including one that's especially concerning. In laboratory settings, this mutation helps the virus avoid or evade antibodies. Ravi Gupta is a microbiologist at the University of Cambridge. He says mutations like this could make it easier for some people to get COVID-19 a second time.
Yes, I do, partly because we know that you can get reinfected even with the same virus, okay? So I think what this mutation will allow the virus to do is to more easily infect those who have already been infected. So your barrier for resistance to the virus has just dropped.
But Gupta says no one knows yet how common these types of reinfections will be. The effect could be small. Jeremy Lubin is a biochemist at the University of Massachusetts Medical School. He agrees that what's happening in the mouse is a mystery.
The bottom line is I don't think we know yet. I think that these scenarios that people are worried about are plausible and they're cause for concern. What we do know is that there is an absolute total disaster occurring there.
Scientists have launched studies to determine what extent reinfections are happening in Manaus, and if it's only time before they cause resurgences around the world. Michaeline Duclef, NPR News.
You're listening to All Things Considered.
I was about to say that. Whoa.
And Hearing Life RS. It's scored consecutive threes to catch up before Hu Mingxuan made a key layup to help Guangdong retake lead and reverse the game. Jilin coach Wang Han was disappointed that his team gave away their advantage so easily in the final period. In the key moments, our players need to make the move without any hesitation. They need more hunger for victory and take responsibility for the team. It's crucial for us. Elsewhere, center Hu Jinqiu and guard Feng Xin combined for 50 points as the Zhejiang Lions routed Xinjiang 87-65. Xinjiang recorded the lowest score in a single game this season, with the star center Zhou Qi sidelined due to a knee injury. Tianjin edged Fujian 117-113 with 6 players scoring double digits. Wang Zheling made 28 points for Fujian but didn't finish the game as he suffered an injury in the final period and was carried off the court. Qingdao defeated Shenzhen 139-133 in overtime, ending an 8-game losing streak.
And thank you very much for that sports update. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in culture and entertainment, the delayed Dubai Expo 2020 has finally unveiled its key pavilions.
Join the most popular Chinese language learning page on Facebook by searching for CRI Learn Chinese.
Because a little advice today can mean a
serious problem.
But unlimited videos, photos, and text tutorials on expressions in Chinese culture. CRI Learn Chinese Facebook page. The world opens with 你好.
Turning to culture and entertainment, ahead of the upcoming Expo 2020 that's been postponed due to the pandemic, Dubai's unveiled its signature pavilion that'll be self-sustaining and environmentally friendly. The event is scheduled to open later on this year. Young Yan has more.
This is the first pavilion completed for the Dubai World Expo in the United Arab Emirates. The theme is sustainable development. The pavilion features a water recycling system, capturing rain in a vast underground system. It is also equipped with a towering 130-meter-wide canopy blanketed with thousands of solar panels. The structure cost more than $270 million. It is designed to produce as much electricity as it uses, making it both energy and carbon neutral. Visitors can get involved in the immersive experience, focusing on ocean and forest. There are also interactive exhibits on the history of environmental decline and dangers of overconsumption. Organizers of the event say 85% of the site's trash will be diverted from landfills, and 80% of new buildings will leave afterwards as educational centers, residential buildings, or offices.
Dubai's Expo is expected to open on October 1st this year and run through March 31st, 2022. And the pavilion is open to visitors starting January 22nd. Various measures are taken to ensure visitors' safety, such as thermal checks, social distancing squares, and providing loads of hand sanitizers. Dubai's Expo 2020 is expected to draw 25 million visitors and a flurry of business deals.
And that was Yang Yan reporting on the recently unveiled key pavilions of the delayed Dubai Expo 2020. Egypt has announced the discovery of a new trove of treasures at the Saqqara necropolis of Cairo, home to a dozen pyramids, ancient monasteries, and animal burial sites. Saqqara was a vast necropolis of the ancient Egyptian capital of Memphis. It's been inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Zhang Mengyuan has more.
Coffins, funerary mosques, and the funeral temple are part of the new discovery dating back to the New Kingdom. Carved in human form and painted in bright colors, many of the coffins are still intact. Archaeologists also found ancient games, statues, and mosques. They say the discovery will rewrite history.
The major important discovery also found 22 shafts. Inside the shafts were coffins and mummies. In one shaft, 54 coffins. Inside the shafts, unique artifacts. We found a papyri about 5 meters long. We found major statuettes. We found games that the Egyptian played. We found also many unique artifacts such as an axe belonging to a soldier. All this discovery will rewrite the history of Saqqara in the New Kingdom.
We extract the coffins, and then the most important thing is to study them to add a new piece of information to Egypt's ancient history. We may find new linguistic information or something about how the coffins are made. We even learn new things during the restoration process, like how the colors were made and how the boards were added to the coffins. The funerary temple of Queen Need was also found near the pyramid of her husband.
That was Zhang Mengyuan reporting on newly discovered ancient artifacts at the Saqqara necropolis in Egypt. Mayim Bialik has launched a weekly mental health podcast on Spotify. The Big Bang Theory star says she's willing to share personal details that many fans can relate to, such as dealing with.
So fitting because it marks the collective human activist.
And everything we cherish as Americans. It can never be tolerated. Now more than ever, we must unify around our shared values and rise above the partisan rancor and forge our common destiny.
Interestingly, a lot of those protesters, the rioters who showed up, hoped to get pardoned. And their argument is that they supported the president, were just following what he asked them to do. As one of them said, he asked us to be here, let's just follow my president. And that guy with the horns, the self-named QAnon shaman, he also wants a pardon. I mean, he says, hey, it's worth a shot. Nonetheless, tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. We will have coverage of the day starting at 11 o'clock, which will carry through to 1, and then, of course, any events that happen. Interestingly, a parting shot, and it's a big deal, not getting a lot of attention, and it will certainly be interesting how Biden handles it, but the Trump administration announced that China has committed genocide and crimes against humanity. Mike Pompeo actually delivered the message saying that we're witnessing the systemic attempt to destroy Uyghur Muslims by the Chinese party state. And this will become a headache for Joe Biden. It's a big parting shot, and now it's on record. We'll see what China does to react. All right. Coming up, news at the top of the hour, and when we come back, we're going to talk about your kids and what they might be telling you through the drawings that researchers at Guel collected. And we should listen to the message, but I think this is important that we keep talking about it. So we'll talk to one of the researchers on that project in just a couple of minutes here on Point. Stay with us. Alex Pearson, Global News Radio.
Laid off due to COVID-19? You are entitled to full severance pay if you're not recalled to work by your employer. Over 90%.
Yeah, unless they're out of business.
Without a clear-eyed, honest, sober.
Hey, I'm afraid this is too expensive.
And 31 degrees Celsius. That's it for this edition of the
Yeah, 吗？
All in today's Chinese studio.
Okay, so I found a jacket that fits. I know how to ask the price. It's 多少钱? And the shopkeeper told me it was 400 kuai. That's outrageously expensive. So how do I tell him that?
You can say 太贵了.
太贵了.
太 means too or very.
太.
贵, the fourth tone, means expensive.
贵.
太贵了. I'm afraid this is too expensive.
太贵了.
Then you can bargain with the seller. For example, you may say, 能不能便宜点儿?
能不能便宜点儿? And I know what that means. It means, could it be a little bit cheaper?
Yes. 能不能便宜点儿? We've learned it before.
Okay. 便宜 means cheap. So this is going to be very useful for me.
这件衣服多少钱
？400块。
太贵了，能不能便宜点？
那就300块吧。
好的，我买了。这件夹克多少钱
？500块。
太贵了，能不能便宜点儿
？400块。
Sometimes I don't take money with me. I want to use a credit card or pay with a check. So how do I ask if I can do that?
You can ask, 我能用信用卡吗? Can I pay by credit card?
我能用信用卡吗?
我 means I. 能 can.
我能
用 the fourth tone means to use.
用
信用 credit.
信用
卡 the third tone means card.
卡
信用卡 credit card.
信用卡
我能用信用卡吗?
我能用信用卡吗? Can I pay by credit card?
If you want to use check, you can say, 我能用支票吗?
我能用支票吗?
支票 is check.
支票
我能用支票吗?
我能用支票吗? Can I pay by check?
我能用信用卡吗？
可以。
我能用支票吗？
对不起，不能用支票。
So Yajit, what's the Chinese word for coupon?
It's 优惠券.
Okay. 优惠券. So can I use this coupon in Chinese? Should be 我能用优惠券吗? Right?
Yes. 我能用优惠券吗?
Well, sort of.
我能用优惠券吗? Okay. Can I use this coupon?
我能用优惠券吗？
可以。
Keywords reminder. I'm afraid this is too expensive. 太贵了. Can I pay by credit card? 我能用信用卡吗? Can I pay by check? 我能用支票吗? Can I use this coupon? 我能用优惠券吗?
Now it's time for our question du jour. How do you say, can I use this coupon in Chinese?
See you tomorrow.
再见.
You're listening to China Plus Radio, connecting you with China and the world.
News. I'm Shane Bigham. The Chinese president will attend the Davos agenda of the World Economic Forum next Monday from Beijing via video link. The foreign ministry says Xi Jinping will attend the meeting and deliver a speech. In January 2017, the president addressed the opening session of the WEF annual meeting, expounding China's views on and support for economic globalization. Chinese President Xi Jinping has inspected the Zhangjiakou competition zone of the Beijing 2022 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games. President Xi arrived in Zhangjiakou, Hebei Province, by taking the Beijing-Zhengzhou high-speed rail. He inspected the rail station close to the competition venues in Athletes Village, the National Ski Jumping Center, and the National Biathlon Center. The Zhengzhou competition zone will host 50 events of 6 disciplines across 2 snow sports during Beijing 2022. Official figures show that China's online retail sales of goods rose nearly 15% year-on-year to 9.8 trillion yuan, roughly 1.5 trillion US dollars in 2020. The Ministry of Commerce says China's had the largest online retail market in the world for 8 years in a row. Online retail sales accounted for a quarter of the country's total retail sales volume last year. Surging online sales boosted the courier sector, with 83 billion parcels being delivered throughout the year. The country's imports of consumer goods increased by 8.2% year-on-year to around 1.6 trillion yuan. China successfully launched a new mobile telecommunications satellite from the Xicheng Satellite Launch Center in Sichuan Province, developed by the China Academy of Space Technology. The Tiantong-1 satellite will establish a mobile network with ground facilities to provide all-weather and all-time communication services. It'll provide voice and short message services, as well as data for users in and around China, as well as in the Middle East, Africa, and most sea areas in the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Vice Premier Sun Chunlan has inspected Hebei Province, urging swift and resolute action in curbing the recent resurgence of COVID-19 at several locations in the province. Sun toured Shijiazhuang, the provincial capital, where she visited local communities, an elderly care institution, a quarantine site, and a hospital. Sun called on departments and personnel to tighten the control over traffic flows at key locations in and around the province and conduct nucleic acid tests more frequently in medium and high-risk areas. As of 10 a.m. Tuesday, Hebei reported 822 locally transmitted cases, including 771 in Shijiazhuang, during the latest resurgence of COVID-19 since January the 2nd. Another 168 locally transmitted asymptomatic cases and 5 imported asymptomatic cases are under medical observation. The United States has reached the grim milestone of 400,000 deaths caused by COVID-19. Data from Johns Hopkins University shows New York has the largest number of deaths at more than 41,000. California has the second highest deaths with over 33,000, followed by Texas with more than 32,000. More than 24 million people have now tested positive for the coronavirus in the United States. The U.S. remains the country hardest hit by the pandemic, accounting for 25% of global cases and nearly 20% of global deaths. The European Union is urging member states to speed up the pace of COVID-19 vaccinations. The EU wants to ensure that at least 80% of the most vulnerable people to the virus are vaccinated by March. European Commission Vice President Margarita Skina says they also aim to have at least 70% of the adult population vaccinated by the end of summer.
We are today proposing that by March this year, member states should have vaccinated a minimum of 80% of health and social care professionals and 80% of people over 80 years old.
The EU sealed 6 vaccine deals with vaccine developers to purchase more than 2 billion doses. So far, only the Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna vaccines have been approved for use in the bloc, enough to vaccinate more than 80% of the bloc's population. Around 400,000 EU citizens have died from COVID-19 since the beginning of the pandemic. And that's the news. I'm Shane Bigham.
Studio Plus, a piece of news, culture, and views. All right, let's go. Tune in to meet some fascinating people, share their stories.
China is one of the great creative countries.
Old Beijing style.
Most of the Chinese music.
Studio Plus, something fresh. Then add in your mushroom. Something fun. Something more. Studio Plus. Studio Plus. Hello and welcome to Studio Plus Community Live from Beijing. I'm
blade of a sword. It's 2 sharp edges and they're cutting some carrots in
Tuesday. Yeah, and it actually did snow
Tell us
yesterday.
the secrets, China gals.
Did you? Well, last night it did snow. Yeah, this morning I woke up and looked outside the window and I was like, what time did it snow? Because I remember I went to bed around 1 in the morning.
But I had no idea it was snowing outside. Otherwise, I would have stepped outside to enjoy it.
It's
Freshly raining down or snowing down. Right. Yeah. I think it happened. I think around 2 to 3.
We're about to get some insight into that one. They podcast that one, they said.
How can you explain?
Really? So, yeah. All right. Yeah. Now we have to deal with the cold snap that always comes after that, and that's the worst part about snow.
Of China, just as if you're touring the country in real life and getting involved in the daily lives of people living here. Join us for Chinese theatre and be blown away by the joys and sorrow, dreams and passion, love and devotion, aspiration and struggles of the people you'll meet. Chinese theatre, a journey of a lifetime and an inspiration for the soul.
Hello and welcome to Chinese Theatre. In today's edition, we'll continue with the drama series titled My Economical Man. The drama series follows 3 young women as they search for love, ultimately hoping to find their Mr. Right. Now stay tuned.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I've learned. In the future, you're in charge of everything that requires a negotiation.
And you lie around and do nothing? No way. I don't think so.
Hey, I won't do nothing. I'll be your loyal assistant. Look, see? I'm already standing by you. And I always will. Besides, my wife is much more capable than I am.
Oh, boy. You've got it made.
Yeah.
You just have to follow me around, and the rest of your life will be a piece of cake, won't it?
Yep.
Doesn't it sound like he came up with that idea?
It's a new tea.
Sounds
Sorry,
like he came
but
up
I'm
with
not
that
here
idea.
to admire the tea, all right? I know. You're here because of Zhenqing. Yes, I'm aware of that.
That's
right.
the basic
and
dog
do you know what
mentality.
Zhenqing said to me as he
Dogs
was
are people
leaving
born
yesterday?
in the year of the dog. I know, because I was born in the year of the dog. Oh my God. Let's screw this up. What is that? It's only 9 o'clock. Damn. That's all they want.
All that talking on your breath, they scaring me. Keep on pushing me, it's like you're tearing me. Like you're a pop, 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 leave them there to bleed.
Used to skip class to make cash, just the one who I never passed. Teacher always talking about something I don't really care about. You see, when I'm done here, gotta go home. And sometimes home ain't the place you wanna go. When the crowd of room, I feel alone. He watched his mother who did die in his arms. And then they wonder why he acts all the causes others harm. It was even written against me back then. I was never supposed to be shit. Listen to be locked up or dead. Tell me how am I alive if you saving for my head? Get the fuck out of here. Y'all ain't killing shit. I was was born for a greater purpose, and because of that, I know I make you nervous. Careful, there's a demon lurking underneath the surface. I do this in the memory of my dog dead and deceased. Every scar, every tattoo is something to me. Yeah.
I'm right, till they bury me. All that talking on your breath, they scaring me. Keep on pushing me, it's like you carry me. Like I won't pop, 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 pop. Leave them there to bleed. Right, till they bury me.
501Y E2.
Keep on pushing me, it's like you carry me. Like I won't pop, 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 pop. Leave them there to bleed.
Ain't no one talk this shit.
Why am I writing in the front?
2014, that right now. 2014. Yeah, can't fuck with this. I ain't getting bail, so I run to the catch.
That's a fucking Stephen King. That's another Stephen King.
Before I ever stop, I'm a giant in the fast lane. Get your toes the fuck out the way, cause this year I'm stomping on everything.
Dream catcher.
Way less till I'm on triple back. Fucking with you thinking playing boy. Got killers across the country just waiting for the order. Got the product from across the border. The guns on their way, mine on standby. Send my condolences, yeah. Heard your man died. Got that good if you're trying to get high. Just follow my lead and you will be fine. Yeah, I came from a place where it's easy to lose faith. Had to learn the hard way, the only way, all day long. Had to earn these scars just to write this song. I worked for the great nigga once the music stopped. No time to wish upon a star. Maybe one of my enemies feeling break today. Taking a buck and went off. Survival at no cost. Whatever it takes, I zero them in my state. No room for error, no room for mistakes.
I'm right, till they bury me. All that talking on your breath, they scaring me. Keep on pushing me, it's like you carry me. Like I won't pop, 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 pop. Leave them there to bleed. Right, till they bury me. All that talking on your breath, they scaring me. Keep on pushing me, it's like you carry me. Like I won't pop, pop, pop.
Thanks, man. Like, seriously.
Yeah. Gang like records, gang like records. Lay him on his back. Yeah. Hunger driving my motivation, no tolerance, running short of patience. Skip gold and not collect 200. That's the shit that got me dreaming robberies. When pops left, it was the block that fathered me. Got a problem, load the weapon, that's how you solve it, that's what it taught to me. And it's how you face don't bother me. Put me in the direction where the bottom be. Guess that's just how I was born to be. Some come to this world with diamonds and pearls, some come to poverty. But no one to teach us right and wrong, how could you say that we wrong? This is all we know, so gotta be right. Or maybe it's left, but it's all we got left. Not to thug until my last breath. Truly, peace and love to the ones that knew me. You fuck the rest, I mean it. And she know, but I walk out this door, it might be for the last time. They say the stars burn the brightest right before they die. That's why I tell her I love her just in case today's my day to shine. Father, forgive me for I sin, and I feel I probably sin again. Tell me whose blood is this on my hands, cause I can't remember. And when my night goes, I literally in the room. My thugs, pump drugs, dump slugs, grave dug. Nah, you ain't one of us. If you want it, better be ready to kill for it. If you want it, better be ready to kill for it. All my thugs, pump drugs, dump slugs, grave dug. Nah, you ain't one of us. If you want it, better be ready to die for it. If you want it, better be ready to die for it. That early morning hustler shit. Cocaine in the pot, stir it till it's thick. Throw some ice in the mix and shock it. That's how you rock that shit. Now here comes the magic trick. Abracadabra, bitch. The stone disappears quick as your baby mama's welfare check. This the life, yeah, fuck you pay me. I brought the bitch with me just to show you why I planned. All the goons in this motherfucker know what I'm saying. Bet the streets gon' feel me. Know these cops still wanna kill me or confine me. But first you gotta find me, so come find me. You bitch ass, punk ass cops. Y'all can kiss on my cock. This is something that you'll never stop. Every bump of these tracks, even after I'm locked, even after my heart stops. I'm here to teach the next generation to say fuck the cops. Same way I was taught, yeah, same way I was taught. Yeah, fuck the cops, fuck the cops. All my thugs, pump drugs, dump slugs, grave dug. Nah, you ain't one of us. If you want it, better be ready to kill for it. If you want it, better be ready to kill for it. All my thugs, pump drugs, dump slugs, grave dug. Nah, you ain't one of us. If you want it, better be ready to die for it. If you want it, better be ready to die for it.
How to remodel, but I need a how to build a Quonset hut kit.
watching my number call. Trust me, dog. You ain't prepared to do what I'm prepared to do. On the guard, the artillery I got, cause you don't have to get chainsaw. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat, man down. Stop. Listen, what's that sound? Everybody look at what's going down. Murder in the first degree, homicide in my crib, harassment. She was yelling even when her arm that she can't speak. It's a cold world that we live in, take it from me. Yeah, in the end, everything I see and have seen is but a dream within a dream. Long days, cold nights, serving fees.
So what just caused that power surge?
This the life that we live, this the life that we live, motherfucker. This the life that we live, this the life that we live, this the life that we live, motherfucker. This the life that we live, this the life that we live, this the life that we live, motherfucker. This the life that we live, this the life that we live, this the life that we live, motherfucker. That new shit, that gang life revolution. You don't wanna fuck with this, I got homie on standby, ready let it rip. I suggest you close your lips, stop bumping your guns before you hurt someone you love. No remorse for my gun, no regrets for these clips. Cross me and I'll set you about shit. Got an M16, copied up the black market shit. Big guns, big clips, you don't want any part of this. I'm on that leave you retarded shit. We ain't shit, not giving a fuck who started it. Try me, see how far you get. 4 goons in a stolen whip. Roll through, fuck your whole day up. Fuck your clown, should've paid up. Not a great nigga putting in work. Covering your coffin in dirt. As far
I hate this music player.
Yeah. What up? It's drama. Yeah, I'm power tripping with money popping my collar on that hood shit. Fresh out of jail, straight to the dollars, got a good connect, he never ace. Open on the product, hit the block and watch the money rise. Bread in the oven, pockets full of stuffing. Never catch me clubbing, but I ain't show the money, then the hoes come running. Wake up, get the paper like the free press coming. But enough about that, hold up, let me spit a rap for these assholes. Back with a crack flow, cops in the front, then I'm dipping through the back door. Frostbite on my toes, damn, almost lost those. Running through the snow in my socks, trying to dodge.
Yeah, the one common thing we got, we will run for the cops. We will
sipping water down juice when you thirsty.
Depends on that energy.
3.5 for them, that's 1,276 mornings when my baby mama was out home telling me stories. They like who your baby daddy is. Better call Murray. Used to roll up at your mama's with a bag full of Tonys and a pocket full of money. Not the kind that she would love me now. Sick as kid rappers still. Someone called it out because the rap is ill. Here, take another pill. Fake rappers acting still. I've been on my A game. Shit never lacked the skill. Real
so every stupid thing that I can keep using after you people lose it. I got 2 dozen of these fucking crap.
Gang like shit.
I choose to use this one until it's dead first.
From the same side, where they might walk up and they might drop by. Yeah, I'm staying high, cause today I might die. My My homie doing robberies, trying to feed his kid. Cause shot now, you don't do shit. I live in a cold moment. I guess it ain't tomorrow, bringing some pain. Yeah, the homie, he a parole violator. When I seen this PO with his eyes dilated, they locked him up quicker than the secret section. See you later, alligator. Crowd surfing on the pack of haters. Tomorrow never comes. Tonight is all that matters. I'm staying faded, cause I don't like who I am when I'm sober. Staring in the mirror like, behold, the demon that holds ya. Yeah, girl. Chasing profits. I know you done heard about me. Careful, cause time will stop what you're thinking. Your enemy don't give a fuck about what you've been thinking. Or what you've been planning after the 22 will leave a hole in you just the same as a cat. Stick to the shadows and riverbends. They make it harder for them to follow the scent. Every man is chasing a dream. I'm on the block with a rock and a scheme. Got to skip the stones on the river of life. That's why we live so right. Caught up in the ripples, me, my brothers grew up pissed off and angry like a leader of storm and pitbull. They fed this breed, and now we hit the streets and breathe. I wonder if they really ready for me. I keep a machete ready in case they change their tone talking to me. Yeah,
There's 100 tracks on this.
The old that's why I'm here. Yo, man, fucking. You should be saying the heat bag. The hand of my business, the fuck with me is a guaranteed death wish. I was taught the hand of my business, the fuck with me is a guaranteed death wish. I was taught the hand of my business, the fuck with me is a guaranteed death wish. I was taught the hand of my business, the fuck with me is a guaranteed death wish. If the stories in the building, better show them respect. Fuck a tough guy, tough talking on the internet. Fuck that, you wanna talk to this. You never miss no snitch. If the paperwork ain't proof enough, I don't know what it is. You know what it is. Hit the 1323 shit. All your shit talk got you sinking in the sand quick. Ready to mouth to get you punched up. Better hope we don't find where you hide. Cause we the type to kick the door in and find ourselves inside. Difference between me and you is that I'm a gangster that raps and you just gangster rapping, dog. Don't that surprise when it happens. My homies know we're begging victims on me get to clapping. Yeah, it's gang life, it is what I said it was. We the real dogs, you just rapping with a voice.
Was taught the hand of my business, the fuck with me is a guaranteed death wish. I was taught the hand of my business, the fuck with me is a guaranteed death wish. I was taught the hand of my business, the fuck with me is a guaranteed death wish. I was taught the hand of my business, the fuck with me is a guaranteed death wish.
I think you're thinking I'm one of those guys that let shit slide. Not dog, but I walk up or drop by. I'm more about a homicide. My finger itches just to pull the trigger. Your finger itches just to pull the finger. I'm a hustler every day up on my grind. You must be out your mind, talking like you hold the tech, not take lives. Yeah, you live in the fantasy, knowing in reality. Maybe you just don't know who you're fucking with. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is the Kid. Call me Billy, one shot with the shotty at your ribs. From this range, only take one shot to kill. Yeah, I promise blood is spilled. Hit the curb quick. While you holding the gun with shaking hands, acting all nervous. Could it be that inside just a little bit? Alright. Yeah, I need all that. So my bitch relax, I'll be back. Where the weed at? You know I need that. Chill, all we do is spit street facts. Beat with your weak raps. They hook the smoke so much. Even if you don't be long, just relapse. long, I walk around with a target on my back. Like, kill me if you can. I'm in the shadow, ducking and dodging the pad. Crack that bottle, let me go again. Buy the ticket, take the ride. All my homies down the ride. Black flags held high. Till the day we die with some monsters on the ride. Apocalypse now, open up the shadows, the fucking clown. But you all wouldn't even spare around. Pull the box, cut us out, and show you what I'm about. Stick it in your neck and watch the blood pour out. Watch the blood pour out. I pray, but God don't answer me. I said I pray, but the devil's out. I said I pray, but God don't answer me. I said I pray, but the devil's out. I said my life I live it been fucked since I was 10, bitch. Just asking questions about my life will make it suck dick. Duck quick, bubbles hitting corners, fast like runnings. Back lanes, cutting across the road some early mornings. Gotta make that money dirty, cause my hands are never clean. And my brother talking fucking silver green at 13. Got that gang life mentality, it's a GL law thing. If you fucking with the kid, you never wake from the street. See, I pray to the sky, hoping God would answer me. Instead, the devil reply with open arms, embrace and capture me. Set me down the path, they're coming back. Someone sent me the way to price of great. Then I'll taste the sweet. Staying loyal to the streets, and my brother's locked down. Holla, make you bow down, bitch. Hit the ground like a robbery, no sound. No witnesses be found. Like a murder scene, nobody round. No witnesses be found. I pray, but God don't answer me. I said I pray, but the devil's all I see. I said I pray, but God don't answer me. I said I pray, but the devil's all I see. I said I pray.
I need fish.
Yeah. Gang life wreck is the kid. Yeah. Feeling fine. You know what it is.
They killed the pigeon in Australia. They killed them. Right. They'll kill everything if they see you trying to work with it.
Yesterday, homie came through with a whole brick. Want me to pick up the whole shit. I'm thinking new kicks, cause the baby ain't shit. 666 is my destiny. Evil men keep me company. In the trenches, blowing on the sesame. Down like the sesame. You can't bring me down. Singing on the cloud, staring at the stars. Clap because you never thought we making this far. Full celebration, the boss. Fuck up, we can step the fuck off.
Some idiot walking in the dog. Did you hit him? Did you hit him?
I become a man and I become heartless. I want to
When this neighborhood first. The reason there's any houses here is because it's tracks here. All the diamond crossings are attractions and stuff. I got tunnels and shit.
Still be breathing, even when the slit go. I'll be still riding on a full moon. I'll be still rhyming when I'm almost cold.
Before they built these buildings right here, I could see all the rail lines.
Still a broken sea, pushing casual turn. Still I got the goon savage wet worse. Must be in a better room, cause the world my ass is turned. The kid in the playground, never wanted to play with. Went to school to flip bricks, learned my mathematics and crack addicts. And when the world got cold, I learned to be a little colder. I was trained out the streets of the murder cat to be a soldier. In and out of prison cells, nothing can stop me. See these places, see these streets, they a part of me. Even if when I was hungry, I had to rely on the robbery. Around here, these cops just as crooked as us. They only open up crap, cause they didn't get their cut. Now I'm every judge, shekels and guns. They say that happens when you kill a gun, sell drugs. I say fuck if it's gang life, we don't give a fuck. Nah, we don't give a fuck, we don't give a fuck.
It's gang related, motivated by hatred. It's just mad we made it. Rather see us all like the cages. Can't you see that only God can save us? Gang related, motivated by hatred. It's just mad we made it. Rather see us all like the cages. Can't you see that only God can save us?
We could be everywhere. See you rather see us locked up inside of a cell. Motivated by this hatred of heaven nowhere. I was brought inside this game with the guards who was dead. Black rag on my face, understanding salute. Cock it in the motherfucker, 22 on my blue. Cock it on you motherfuckers, no hesitation to shoot inside your head. Me and you want to follow the news. Ain't no hope for evidence, not a shell in the blood. Black rag on my face, hoodie over the top. No description for the cops or the neighborhood watch. What not these neighbors who watch, they own neighbor get shot. Murder cap ain't the place where you can feel safe. It's where soldiers are raised and where the gun go. People are dying over sicknesses from saving some man. Gang life, but I'm living every day for change.
It's gang related.
Actually, that's good.
Fuck with my gang, bang, you get fucked, you can bang, bang, you don't give a fuck. Cut, cocaine, and you cut, your brain, lean, and you cut. You fuck with my gang, you get bang, you get fucked, bang, bang, you get fucked. You miss I'm the person who to my fingers, I'm released, the fucking cups, I'm looking up victims, off the head with the sick like we just make them a beast, speaking and talking a bitch, sickly, you sick of that little book, you get the video, the video, say you were playing the voice, I'm just talking to this shit, addicted to voices, you know what the poison, taking my venomous, in the face with blood, all your motion, bringing the pulse, shit is not gonna know, so she blazing up, pushing the clock, we begging to make it fun, look at the base, I'm sick of the fuck, we're trying to sort out the civilian, nothing good, taking us, keeping the real, taking my lips, a little woman, give bitches, sexy bitches, and they keep my face to witches, fucking headed to venom, swinging the angels of fighting, killers, singing the streets, the niggas, they cooking the fish in the face, keeping the feet on the people ways, devils are fucking the weakness, nobody prays, believing in Jesus, having to say the fake, beat the fake, never give a fuck, bang, bang, cut, brain, lean, cut, fuck with my gang, you get bang, you get fucked, bang, bang, you give a fuck, cut, cocaine, and cut, your brain, lean, in the cut, if you fuck with my gang, you get bang, you get fucked, bang, bang, you give a fuck.
I can feel the steps creeping and I heard he wants my soul in the morning trying to fight it. He already got a whole gun, a pocket full of cash, black rag by my side. It's gang life on me and we all down the ride. If your dubs in the sky, if you riding like you Jesus, get the demons in the dark, but you never trying to see. Got the status of a red dog, chop us off the flipping hard. Gamble with the scene and roll the dice and I'm a boy you got. Didn't want to be, but you had to put me in. Now we're rolling with my gang like brothers and we out the kids. Yeah, you got me tripping and the whiskey got me tripping and the moments on my grind, so yo, I'm bound to catch you slipping. But I'm about to another pill, open there to make me chill. My demon talking to me saying you kill. I put myself into the fucking ground. You gon' blow up by the hands, forward off the line, your number 10, you a fucking mouse.
I've seen this moment in my dreams. I'll make a pact with you. With the gods as our witnesses, let us pledge that the winner will allow the loser all the proper funeral rituals.
There are no paths between the lines and
a bunch of COVID patients. I didn't think that was going to
What you know about this gang like boy? I'm a soldier. open up the motherfucking cell. Independent dictionary don't scare me. So throw the fucking round and scale. There we go. Now we on the streets losing the fish scale. If you wanna fuck. Going up and up. Going up and up.
Wait a second, something else down there.
He bound to make the majors, he don't even like sports. He push free base by the book all day long. He said fuck school, instead of going to class, he left to cook the weight back, broke blacks to the money stack. No such thing as a dealer with villains. All I know is cold, all that bloodthirsty villains. Said I watch him sell crack to pregnant women and children. I ain't trying to solve the problem, I'm a part of it. Spin the fuck the world, coke drip got my throat numb. Liquor got me leaning, dropping my gun. Got a question for the Lord, why someone always end up dead when we having fun? Through a rose in the casket, time to move on. This is where I'm from, a place of no return. A dead end block where the crack serve. Yeah, it's cool, so I'm still a bill of birds. I know that's coming, I'm just waiting to turn. Yeah, I'm drunk, sipping any yo, bro. Count pennies, I ball hard. Yeah, I'm shack with the crack rock. Turn your baby mama's crib to a crack spot. From a block away, hit a chopper's break. Better watch what you say, cause you can end up with some cells in your back like have a nice day. I know this ain't no way to live where I'm from. It's the only way there is.
Yeah, fuck it's the only way there is. All these other motherfuckers talking shit. Acting like they moving shit, making money, they was sort of rocking your life. Too much, boy, stand up. Ride down, shit down,
I know this ain't no way to live where I'm from. It's the only way there is. I know this ain't no way to live where I'm from.
One of these fucking days, I'm gonna die, and when I do,
Broken bottles, no hope for tomorrow. Still we smile, cause it's the pain and the sorrow. We all living in time that's borrowed. Night City, Burger King, place where they die, where they flags. Here the land of the law, home of the Shadow Valley. I'm just a team with a gun in a black alley. White and crack, looking for a place to rest my soul. Season like chains weighing me down. Yeah, gang life records, my kid. Holla back, what's up? Hear the sound as my heart breaks. It's real cold, full of snakes. What you want me to say? Yeah, I should change, but I don't know them other way. Cause he's in the hallway. Police was apartment all day. Took a loss, still his business as usual. Ain't nothing to a pirate. Coke and the pirates die before I break the silence. All I know is gold crossbows. Try to call God, all I got was a dial tone. Now lately, I don't give a fuck about nothing. Tell a dirty bitch I ain't cuffing, but she probably already owe me something. Send it to the corner, tell her suck a dick. I'm just another gutter kid with dreams of being rich. Don't judge me, I ain't heartless. I just like to use my heart less.
Quietly. There's a video for that one. Look it up.
Gang life records, the kid. Yo, just another day around the way. My homie just got released about the case. Already got that look in his eyes telling me you won't be long till he back again. Yeah, it's a fucked up world that we live in. I swear when I close my eyes, I can hear the tears of my children. So in my seat, but cold of the streets, this is the life of a G. Something that I never want you to see. I'm watching angels and demons fighting over me. Yeah, the willing gets to keep my soul early. They call this the struggle with life. All I know is around here it gets cold at night. There ain't no food in the fridge. Mama doesn't get paid this week. Yeah, the yelling again, so it's kinda hard to sleep. So I'm counting sheep. I'm counting how many times God don't answer me. These cold streets, only thing that welcomes me. Yeah, I'm listening to my heartbeat. Getting high, smoking weed. I hit the blunt, pass it to my dead homie. Sometimes it takes me a minute to realize that you ain't there. Spend a lot of time talking to myself like you're still here. Only thing I can do is pour my liquor on and send you my prayer. Just another day, living in the Lord. Just another day around the way. Good today, I didn't die today. It's just another day, living in the hood. Just another day around the way. Good today, everyone's here to stay. It ain't unusual to hear cut shots on the block. Homicide detectives from the corner taping out the murder spot. The jack boys down the street saying, give me what you got. Little homie used to rock. He hustled hard to get that watch, so we refuse to give it down. One shell from the clock, lay him on the block. Wearing that watch, yeah. It's the cold world, better learn to hold your own. Rust the next tombstone that they cut might be your own. Cause someone please explain. For some reason, even though the sun's shining over here, it still rains. Lord, forgive me for my evil ways. I swear I'll never change. I'll always be this way. For some reason, we just gotta learn the hard way. I pour packs from Selkirk to Broadway. I be ripping for my city every day, all day. From your black flag cup, if you feel me. It's gang life, motherfucker, till they kill me. Kill me. Yes, no sleep, I said it one time. Looking for me, no rest on this block, man. You'll never let me be. I'm a pirate, I'm coking a pirate, swimming like violet. Every day is Iris, what you need, I can get it. I'm a bad guy, call me Shredder, blue holes in a red sweater. I'm a better than fly than the next guy. So high, I can touch the sky. Yeah, I'm ready to die, put my life on the line until I hit that line. I'm a soldier, gangster boss. So much success, man, I can take a loss. No matter the cost, I'ma do what I want. Even if it means I spend the rest of my days behind bars. Hell yeah, my face gone. Life's hard, when all your fights is. But most of the time talking to God, we on the road. The world's cold and we all alone. The cops on their way, so it's time for me to go. One time, looking for me. The rest on this block, man, I guess no sleep. I said it one time. Looking for me. The rest on this block, man, they'll never let me be. Yeah. New year, new war. Yeah, I'm used to this shit by now. Ain't nothing but now. Took another cut with a chain, made a go. Hit the weed, took the coke, got a pocket full of dope. Every kids give me hope. Looking in the eyes, see a piece of myself. That's why I'm so hard, so they never have to pay God. It's take people like me, really make it very far. Up to my seat, cause I see the cop car. Got time looking for me, they wanna lock me up and throw away the key. Had the nightmares when I sleep. Wake up with the devil laying next to me. I can only blame me for the life I lead.
Woke up in the graveyard laying next to God. He said death will be easy, but life will be hard.
Prophets, never been heard about me. Careful, cause time will stop what you're thinking. Your enemy don't give a fuck about what you've been thinking. Or what you've been planning. I think the 22 will leave a hole in you just the same as a cat. Stick to the shadows and rip events. Leave the make it harder for them to follow the sin. Every man is chasing the dream. I'm on the block with a rock and a scheme. Got skipping stones on the river of life. That's why we live so strife. Caught up in the ripples, me my brothers grew up pissed off and angry like a leader was off and pitbull. They fed this greed, and now we hit the streets and breed. I wonder if they really ready for me. I keep a machete ready in case they change their tongue talking to me. Yeah, the shadow that they ever released from movie. My life is like a horror movie with too many sequels. Never really got along with other people. My foster parents thought that I was evil, cause they caught me rolling Bibles in the church steeple. I wonder if God listens, and if he does he hear me screaming at the sky every time I'm buzzed? My Muhammad died thug, forever selling drugs. I find myself to really cut with all the other thugs, and in the end I'm just a modern day pirate disciple with Cyrus, sworn to silence. Mama, I'm a thug, and I'm always gonna be this way. Even if they lock me up and never release me again. Mama, I'm a thug, and I'm always gonna be this way. Even if I die young, I'ma take my cause to the grave. Mama, I'm a thug, and I'm always gonna be this way. Even if they lock me up and never release me again. Mama, I'm a thug, and I'm always gonna be this way. Even if I die young, I'ma take my cause to the grave. Mama, I'm a thug. Yeah. I should've listened to the things that mama used to say. Now I slang crack right by the bar where I used to play. Of course you're gonna believe her when she says that everything will be okay. From the scars tell a different story either way. I hope that God sees me on my way. As the circle to get paid, on the hustle night and day. Till I shake your hand and see your face, I'ma be this way. Life ain't always what it's cracked out to be.
Ever some happiness only lasts as long as the binge.
I don't worry myself with the little things. I'm not the gold chain and the pinky ring. I hope that God give me wings big enough to carry my sins. But when it is my time to ascend, and if not, then it's in the depths of hell where the story shall end. To the depths of hell, my story shall end. Mama, I'm a thug, and I'm always gonna be this way. Even if they lock me up and never release me again. Mama, I'm a thug, and I'm always gonna be this way. Even if I die young, I'ma take my cause to the grave. Mama, I'm a thug, and I'm always gonna be this way. Even if they lock me up and never release me again. Mama, I'm a thug, and I'm always gonna be this way. Even if I die young, I'ma take my cause to the grave. Mama, I'm a thug, and I'm always gonna be this way. Even if they lock me up and never release me again. Mama, I'm a thug, and I'm always gonna be this way. Even if I die young, I'ma take my cause.
Wrap this out here somewhere.
Yeah, girl. You know I had. Yeah, dream. Well, I'm wide awake. I might lose it all. That's the risk I take. Yeah, I dream. Well, I'm wide awake. Turn up the beat. I refuse to fade. Yeah, I dream. Well, I'm wide awake. I might lose it all. That's the risk I take. Yeah, I dream. Well, I'm wide awake. Turn up the beat. I refuse to fade. Yeah, I dream. Yeah, running out of options. Swerving through the stop sign. So cracks that cash just to pass time. Black gun, black mask. Get a 4-door G-Ride. Ooh, would it be like to live a G life? All I know is sacrifice, long days, cold nights in the city where the dreams go to die. I'm puffing on the weed cause you gotta stay high. I'm stepping on the liquor cause the gangsta die quicker. These are the bloodshot eyes of a killer. I put that on my flag. I'm going hard till I'm in that body bag. In the back of the cab with a brick in a duffel bag. Yeah, my pants sag, and so does the gun bag. We move on them as soon as they come in range. All grown up, still playing cops and robbers. Real cops, real guns, and real robbers. Got me dreaming go the better way. Still this rap shit help me get away. Something that they can't take away. This shit'll still play, even when I'm in my grave. Yeah, it's Mr. Fuck the law. Mr. Fist against the jaw. Mr. When I'm done, break it down your door. You take a pistol with the shore. Yeah, I climbed from the gutter. Had to grind for my bread and butter. I'd rather die than let my family suffer. Fucking undercover, eternal slumber. My voice boom, like the god of thunder. From the zips to the keys, you ain't done what I done. You ain't seen what I seen. I keep my ear to the streets when I'm serving these fiends. Yeah, the gun's loaded. You don't really want to see the bell smoking. Yeah, I dream. Well, I'm wide awake. I might lose it all. That's the risk I take. Yeah, I dream. Well, I'm wide awake. Turn up the beat. I refuse to fade. Yeah, I dream. Well, I'm wide awake, I might lose it all, that's the risk I take. Yeah, I dream. Well, I'm wide awake, turn up the beat, I refuse to fade. Yeah, I drink to the box, bring it back to the bases. Keeping the whole hood on lock with the street combination. Bringing it back to the days when Papa Big made a statement. In the hood, ain't nothing changed, struggle daily for the pain. I was raised up, place of the product you wage. See, I came up, ain't full of strap, begging a page. A hustle talking to strangers, a life of danger. See, simple get to change, just a little with things. Just push my limit, I hate you, but love my haters. Foes on the street try to fade us, but never can phase. A nigga fucked in the head, so they label me strange. Cause we're touching human nature, this nation's fucked up. Still lurking the lanes, been like that since I was young. But I'm a girl together, we want. She taught me how to use my tongue. Got that cushion, I'm high, so my pain is numb. You can find me lost in the mist and I'm rolling with love. West End lives in my veins, still run through my bloodstreams. All day, gotta survive, for else I gotta feed. All night, creep to the hood, knees in the alley. Focus my rays on these blocks, making them damn streets. Crooks got a leg, came up on I got a slang. Money over everything, could show me the easy pain. Things again, cold to put the soldier marching in the lane. West End went to beg, that's where I was raised. Mama told me stay in school, you gotta make your daily grade. Instead of nigga cutting class investigations by the feds. My mama, I was only 17, posted with a bag. Daddy wasn't there to guide me, streets made me a man. Pray for the Lord to save him, God embracing the hatred. Music for the elevation, steady elevated. Mind focus, heavyweight, but quick when we started pacing. Leaving the foes devastated like a brain dead patient. That dream, well, I'm wide awake. I might lose it all, that's the risk I take. Yeah, I dream, well, I'm wide awake. Turn up the beat, I refuse to fade. Yeah, I dream, well, I'm wide awake. I might lose it all, that's the risk I take. Yeah, I dream, well, I'm wide awake. Turn up the beat, I refuse to fade. Yeah, I dream, well, I'm wide awake. I might lose it all, that's the risk I take. Yeah, I dream, well, I'm wide awake. Turn up the beat, I refuse to fade. Yeah, I dream, well, I'm wide awake. I might lose it all, that's the risk I take. Yeah, I dream, well, I'm wide awake. Turn up the beat, I refuse to fade. All these suckers try to hate with the fake rap shit. They mad cause we got game when we play that shit. You sad sissies have names, you just play rap snitches. Back then, all you do is play that shit. You can't ass shit, so say you know I play that shit. Homies bang mine, ladies thinking, hey, that's sick. I'll take that bitch, you think that you can't last with. So take that dick, for telling me you can't stack shit. Fuck business, make fake ass bitch. I'll put you in a casket, up in it with a mattress. Cats acting, they will, thematic is rapping. Fuck wax, we clap with the mechanical. Faster batteries, master pop. A tragedy happened to be the first plastic, but the last one laughing. The savages happen, I'm like an animal trapped in. Hungry, we eat cats like some cannibal fat kids. In the midst of the fill of this in the plague. We getting rich, fuck with this commission of pay. We'll catch you slipping ammunition, no diminish your flame. Bitches, bitch, you bring a fire, well extinguish your flame. We don't play, flipping out the kitchen with cane. Don't say no names, I hear you whispering names. Just living what's next, you're giving information to Jake. You done snitched on, that ain't with your signature stage. Text to play, but kids you can't take. When you spit straight, this same shit. Spray war with your kids play. Yeah, Cali hollow 4 fists to your ribcage. Give his baby mama 4 dicks in a chip stain. We flip case, slanging shit, my first bang chips, man. Chillin' cause we in it for the quick bang. Chillin' with the bitches, city slickin' cause we been made. Whips with the 6 switchblade, 20-inch range. Dream, well I'm wide awake. I might lose it all, that's the risk I take. Yeah, I dream, well I'm wide awake. Turn up the beat, I refuse to fade. Yeah, I dream, well I'm wide awake. I might lose it all, that's the risk I take. Yeah, I dream, well I'm wide awake. Turn up the beat, I refuse to fade. Yeah, I dream, yeah, I dream.
That's my Godson don't get sleeping bags or something. You get cots. How much a cot would cost? Jesus.
To do something few human beings. Nah, never gonna be your own man. Die with your gun in your hand. Damn, say it's all part of God's plan, and all we can do is just try to understand. Nah, never gonna be your own man. Die with your gun in your hand. Damn, say it's all part of God's plan, and all we can do is just try to understand. Kill my whole life, I've been selling rock. Get a birdie almost gone, and it's barely open pot. I'ma give it all I got, so I'm locked, trapped in a box, so stuck in a cell. Yeah, boy, we living in hell. Every scar on my body got a story to tell. Listen closely. You can get away and whispering, that's my trace. Fuck with my nigga either way. Get a whole world against me, still I'ma be okay. I got the sun on my back, get a world on my shoulders. Black cocaine, product holder, black flag soldier. To my cancer closest, life just further, well that steps closer. Trust me, boy, you up your element like a gazelle running with the elephants. Real recognize fake, and you got bitch made written all over your face. God, never gonna be no man. God, put your gun in your hand. Damn, see so hard, God's flag. No, you just try to understand. Nah, never gonna be no man. God, put your gun in your hand. Damn, see so hard, God's flag. No, you just try to understand. When I dream of Monday, see dreams and kids cold. To me, that's funny, cause your dreams make my dreams come true. The circle of life, darkness conquers light. I'm just laughing on the world birds. You just cry, cause your homie died first. Don't worry, we all get a turn. I had to ask the referee, the old dogs get to go to heaven. And if so, I guess I'm good. I guess he understands why I pump backpacks in the hood, yo. I'm walking with the black mask, black strap hoodie, yo. Just to bring this up, let them know what's up. Till my number's called, till my time is up. I don't give a fuck. Fuck the world and everybody in it. You play the game, you better play it to win it. You at the bottom of the food chain, looking like that. Bitch ass. God, never gonna be no man. God, put your gun in your hand. Damn, so hard, cause flag. No, you just try to understand. God, never gonna be no man. God, put your gun in your hand. Damn, so hard, cause flag. No, you just try to understand.
Toronto. Tuesday, January 19th. Good evening. I'm Scott Burnett.
And I'm Judy Friedman. Here's what's making news this hour.
After 2 days of operation, Toronto's first mass vaccination clinic is coming to a halt. The city citing a vaccine shortage.
Premier Doug Ford having some choice words for vaccine maker Pfizer.
You want us all to get along, hunky-dory, kumbaya? Help us out. I'm asking you for help.
Ford now asking U.S. President-elect Joe Biden to lend Ontario 1 million doses of the vaccine.
A Toronto employment and labor relations lawyer says your employer can insist that you get vaccinated against COVID-19 and fire you if you refuse.
Donald Trump's final farewell.
Thank you and farewell.
But the outgoing president vows his movement
is only just beginning.
For anybody to make choices.
The Blue Jays have signed another free agent reliever as the Raptors and Leafs both have the night off. Sports at 15.
Netflix stock takes flight in the extended trade on well-received earnings. Gun sales strong across the U.S. ahead of the inauguration tomorrow, and a moneymaker on the main Wall Street exchanges business at 26.
What do these people have money?
Traffic and weather together on the ones at the traffic center. Good evening, Greg here.
Hey, good evening. This report is brought to you by 407 ETR. So we've got a crash on the westbound 401 west to Warden in the express where the right lane's blocked off. Your emergency crews are on the scene. And then they're setting up construction approaching Mississauga Road in the two right lanes. That's going to stretch past Winston Churchill as the Winston Churchill ramps to and from the westbound 401 are shut down tonight as well. So when they set this construction up, it usually ends up slowing everybody down until they can get the trucks out of the way and close those two right lanes. So we'll watch that. Eastbound QEW through Mississauga Road, the left lane's blocked. Set 427 at Rathburn in the collectors. The left lane is also blocked. The safety of drivers both on and off the road means everything to 407 ETR. That's why they've developed a COVID assistance program for those who need it most. Next report's at 10:11, and with the forecast, here's Natasha Ramsahai.
Some flurries tonight in Toronto. Winds switching around to the northwest. This is a cold front that's going to do that, and it's also going to drop our temperatures to -7. Morning wind chills near -14. It is going to be sunny, though, for the first half of the day before we increase the cloud. A high of -3 with a wind chill of -10. That southwest wind gusting up to 40 kilometers per hour. Tonight, down to a low of -7 degrees.
Partly cloudy sky downtown Toronto is -1. It feels like -8 with the wind out of Pearson Airport this hour -2, feeling like -8. 6:30 news time, 10:02.
from 6 weeks down to just 1
What
week.
if
And
they
now
want to
after
laugh
two
and they like,
patient center has been forced to close tonight due to a shortage of COVID-19 doses.
680's Michelle Mackey joins us with how this is impacting people here in Toronto.
The city's Metro Toronto Convention Center clinic has been ordered to pause immediately. COVID-19 incident commander, Fire Chief Matthew Peg, says he was contacted by the head of the province's vaccine distribution task force with the order.
And the general explained that as a direct result of the supply issues relating to Pfizer vaccine and the announcements that have come from the federal government, that we have no choice but to immediately suspend the operation.
While the clinic was solely issuing the Moderna vaccine, the Pfizer shortage triggered a reallocation of the supply chain.
The very moment that vaccines can be made available to us, we will launch again and expand from there.
No timeline as to when that reopening might happen. I'm Michelle Mackey.
A very frustrated Premier Doug Ford after news in Ontario will see no new doses of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine next week and thousands less over the next month. Ford is appealing to the U.S. President-elect Joe Biden to share 1 million doses of the Pfizer shot that's manufactured in Michigan.
You have a new president. No more excuses. We need your support. And we look forward to your support. And that's a direct message to President Biden. Help out your neighbor. You want us all to get along. Hunky-dory, come by off. Help us out. I'm asking you for help.
Canada's recent Pfizer vaccines have been coming from a European plant. So far, about 224,000 vaccine doses have been administered in Ontario. That's for both the Pfizer and Moderna shots.
Linda Hassenfratz has stepped down from her role on the province's COVID-19 vaccine distribution task force after traveling outside the country in December. The Ford government releasing a statement accepting the resignation of the CEO of automotive parts maker Linamar. Hassenfratz has apologized for her decision. Ford's office reminding Ontarians in that statement today to stay home to stop the spread of COVID-19. It comes after several officials traveled out of the country during the holidays, including the province's former finance minister.
A personal and political insult coming from one of Premier Doug Ford's top cabinet ministers today during the update. 680's Mark Douglas has the story and response from Queen's Park.
The Minister of Long-Term Care wrapped up the Premier's afternoon news conference by making a personal attack.
And I'll just say, how disgusting it is to see the opposition, the NDP, Andrea Horwath, using misinformation to create anxiety and fear.
She's the first person to vote ever do that in politics.
To a question about what more can be done about COVID-19 outbreaks in long-term care homes. In particular, would the military be called back in? Fullerton and the Premier had already announced the completion of the first round of vaccinations in all facilities in the 4 big hotspot regions, plus 3 other regions. In response to the minister's accusation, Andrea Horwath tells me, quote, "When you've got nothing else left, that's what you resort to, the personal attack," unquote. At Queen's Park, I'm Mark Douglas.
Now that the vaccine against COVID-19 has been made available to long-term care homes and health workers, there are reports that some workers are hesitant to get it. But can you refuse? 680's Phil Martino is speaking with a Toronto employment and labor relations lawyer to find out. Can an employer insist on employees getting vaccinated against COVID-19? Toronto employment lawyer Howard Levitt says the answer is most definitely yes.
Can you fire someone? If someone says, you know what, once it's available to everyone, I don't want this vaccine. Can you fire that person? But Toronto employment lawyer Stuart Rutgers says the issue is not so black and white.
Mandatory vaccination in this country.
It makes sense to require vaccinations. But then you've got other employment lawyers who said exactly the opposite.
You can't force it because that doesn't help anybody. And it can kill you. You still have to wear all the PPE you're supposed to wear as a medical.
Rutgers says it's going to come down to balancing privacy rights and workplace safety. I'm Phil Martino.
Here with All News Radio 680 News at 10:07. A man has died after a 3-vehicle collision in Etobicoke. This happened at Kipling and Belfield Road near the 409 this afternoon. The victim was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries, where he was later pronounced dead. No word yet on the cause of the crash.
Toronto police and K9 units on the scene of a vehicle rollover at Finch Avenue East and Pineway Boulevard east of Leslie Street. Officers say witnesses saw 4 young females fleeing the scene on foot. Officers allege the vehicle
vehicle was reported stolen. No reports of any injuries. Police say drivers can expect delays in the area.
680 News Time 10:08 on his last full day in office. U.S. President Donald Trump released another video offering kind words for his successor. Our Karen Seelman joins us live with more. Karen?
Yes, Scott, Donald Trump releasing a final farewell in the final hours of his presidency. In his taped address, he wishes the next president good luck.
This week we inaugurate a new administration and pray for its success in keeping America safe and prosperous.
But not once through the 19-minute message does Trump use his successor's name. Never does he say Joe Biden. Now, on the eve of a very different inauguration, a solemn moment for Biden in the nation's capital, Washington, locked down but lit up as the president-elect honored the country's now 400,000 COVID deaths.
To heal, we must remember.
The grim toll reached on Trump's last full day on the job. He did not acknowledge the pain of the pandemic in his video. Reporting live, I'm Karen Seelman. This is 680 News. A Toronto company has come up with a social distancing traffic light for businesses to let customers know when it's safe to enter. Traffic Flow says a green light reassures window shoppers and passers-by that you're not at capacity and they're welcome to come inside. A red light communicates to customers when you've reached your social distancing capacity. The Traffic Flow sign can be purchased online. Some Toronto businesses already have installed it, including Sweet Thrills in Wencesville.
Coming up in 30 seconds, we'll check on the price of the pump.
680 News Time 10:09.
Working from home? Stay up to date on the coronavirus.
That's not the new pubs have been doing that forever. They have
5
to.
times a day on your radio, 680news.com, or ask to play 680 News on your smart speaker.
At Scotiabank, we know it can be hard to balance your savings goals and enjoy your life today, but the Scotiabank Savings Accelerator account can help. For a limited time, earn 1.5% interest to help grow your TFSA or RRSP faster, so you can accelerate towards what your head has planned for tomorrow and let your heart enjoy what it needs today. Visit scotiabank.com/accelerate to open a Savings Accelerator account today. Conditions apply. Interest is calculated daily.
Now the 680 News gas price update. Info predicting the price of gas won't change at midnight. It'll hold steady at $1.11.9 a liter at most GTA stations. Traffic and weather is next.
680 News Time 10:10.
Things are changing at Tim Hortons.
Did you hear we have a new Darkness? I think you're gonna love it.
It's rich. Angela, you have to enjoy with me.
Come in and try the newest dark roast for yourself. It's our boldest comeback ever. It's time for Tim's, at participating restaurants in Canada.
Here's the funny thing.
Wednesday's best dramas.
Has a tendency to bring out the very best
on City TV.
People who stand steady.
I'm not abandoning them. Chicago Med.
Who hold on to each other.
Fire. This community calls, we respond.
And run into the fear.
And PD. Takes a lot of guts. And unfortunately, Chicago Med, Fire, and PD. All new episodes. Wednesdays on City TV. Or stream live and free at citytv.com. 680 News on 10:11. Traffic and weather together on the run with Premier.
Bit of construction out there. We had some problems, so we'll get those problems cleared away. Westbound 411 has. It was a crash west of Kennedy. That's been cleared away. We still have one underway, though, west of Warden in the Express, where the right lane's blocked off as you go by. Emergency crews are tending to this scene, but it's really not causing a huge problem. The rest is construction. So as you take a look here, west of the 404, they're setting up in the collectors. It's going to be 2 left lanes once they're all done. And it's 2 right lanes from Mississauga Road through to Winston Churchill. That is causing a little bit of slowdown west of Mississauga Road now. The Winston Churchill ramps to and from the westbound 401 are also closed. We have the Nielsen ramp to the west 401 shut down as well. And the southbound Baby ramp onto the east 401's closed tonight, too. Eastbound QEW through Mississauga Road, a left lane's blocked, but no delay. South 427 through Rathburn into Collectors, the left lane's closed down here as well. Next report's at 10:21 with the forecast. Here's Natasha Renzahai.
-7 degrees. That's what we're waking up to in the morning. Wind chill -14. Could be slick as well because we do have some flurries on the way tonight. Buried northward. Watch for some accumulating lake effect snow. And then after a sunny start, we'll have some increasing late day cloud with a high of -3. It's going to feel like -10. Temperatures are then warming up again. So Wednesday night into Thursday, temps rising. We've got about trace to a centimeter, possibly 2 centimeters of snow by Thursday morning. Then we'll mix in some rain showers through the afternoon, especially along along the lakeshore because we're getting up to 4 degrees in the afternoon. Overnight tonight down to low minus 7 degrees.
Downtown Toronto, partly cloudy, -1, feeling like -6. And over at Pearson Airport this hour, partly cloudy and -2. That wind chill sitting at -7. 6:80 news time, 10:13. Toronto gamers are in for a treat. The game they know and love, Scott Pilgrim versus the World Complete Edition, has returned. And as usual, the video game takes place right here in Toronto, just like the 2010 movie featuring Michael Cera. It's all inspired by Brian Lee O'Malley's Made in Toronto comic book series of the same name. You can catch pixelated versions of Toronto landmarks like the CN Tower and Rogers Center. It's available on all digital platforms, and you can even join up with 3 friends online to create the ultimate team for competing against each other. Physical copies of the game can be pre-ordered on Friday for PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. In 60 seconds, we'll recap your headlines. 680 News, 10:13.
What the fuck happened here?
This is your weather station, 680 News.
What happens when you sleep well, you train well, you focus well, you eat well, you play well? Whatever your New Year's resolution, it all starts with better sleep, and that begins at Sleep Country. The New Year, New You event is on now. Get great deals on all your sleep essentials like mattresses, bedding, and pillows. Our sleep experts are online at sleepcountry.ca to help you wake up to better sleep. Sleep well, stay well. Sleep Country. So, our mortgage approval is done?
Great news. The bank has approved you at a 1.79% rate.
What the what? That's way too high. Butler Mortgage is 1.38%.
Well, it cannot be the same as our bank's mortgage.
It's totally the same. 5-year, fixed rate, same features, no fees. 1.38%. I'm switching to Butler Mortgage. Enough of making the banks rich.
License number 12118, high ratio fixed rate APR 1.39%.
This is all News Radio. 680 News.
Partly cloudy, -1, feeling like -6 in downtown Toronto. Good evening, I'm Scott Burnett.
And I'm Judy Freeman. Here are the top stories this hour.
Just a day after it was opened, the massive vaccination clinic at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre closed temporarily tonight due to the delay in delivery of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. It's safe to say Premier Doug Ford is frustrated with Pfizer.
We got to be on these guys like a blanket. I'd be outside that guy's house. Every time he moved, I'd be saying, where's our vaccine?
We're now asking U.S. President-elect Joe Biden to lend us 1 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine from a plant in Michigan. And can your employer force you to get the shot and fire you if you don't? An employment lawyer says if public health deems it necessary for your business, yes, they can. But it is not so black and white. Some lawyers saying such a decision is more about balancing privacy rights and workplace safety. Coming up after sports, do you have an international trip booked? Prime Minister Trudeau says cancel.
The labor law was here until the shit hits the fan, and then
now 680 Sports.
What are you going to do if a company's just out of business?
One day after signing free agent pitcher Tyler Chatwood, the Blue Jays have agreed to terms with free agent reliever Kirby Yates on a 1-year deal worth $5.5 million, according to Sportsnet's Ben Nicholson Smith. Yates dealt with bone spurs in his elbow last season, but was one of the best closers in baseball in 2018 and 2019 with the Padres. Meanwhile, John Heyman of MLB Network is reporting that there's a sense the Blue Jays are gaining momentum in talks with free agent George Springer. The final deal could be worth over $125 million. The Maple Leafs off tonight, back at it tomorrow as they host Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. Finals from the NHL to pass your way. Sidney Crosby had the overtime winner as the Penguins beat the Capitals 5-4 in overtime. Jets got past the Senators 4-3 in OT. The Devils down the Rangers 4-3, and the Flyers blanked the Sabres 3-0. There's been a few good stories surrounding the Raptors this season, including the bounce back of Stanley Johnson. Head coach Nick Nurse has been impressed.
It's always good to see a guy that hangs in there getting a chance, and then there's opportunity has presented itself, and he's doing a solid job of making the most of his opportunity.
Toronto home to Miami tomorrow, and Tiger Woods has undergone a 5th back surgery. He is, however, expected to make a full recovery, but will miss Torrey Pines and Riviera. Sports at 15 and 45, past every hour, or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
Well, it's certainly been an interesting year. And if you're like me, maybe you've been drinking more than usual and you want to take a break. Well, with DryFeb it's easy, and you'll be supporting the Canadian Cancer Society. When you sign up at dryfeb.ca, you'll help fund groundbreaking research and support services for people affected by cancer. And you can reduce your own risk of cancer. Try stopping for a week or the whole month. Go as dry as you're willing to try this February. Sign up at dryfeb.ca.
So the standard's been set.
RRSP season is here. Consider Israel Bonds for your RRSP and tax-free savings account. Israel Bonds are now paying up to 3.14% in Canadian dollars, subject to conditions. Israel Bonds are sold in Canada by Canada Israel Securities Limited. Diversify your RRSP and TFSA with Israel Bonds. Rates up to 3.14% are available until January 31st. Call Israel Bonds today at 416-789-3351 or visit israelbonds.ca.
680 News Time, 10:18.
York Regional Police asking for your help, asking for witnesses rather to come forward. After a suspicious fire in Wichert Stouffville, officers allege the incident happened yesterday just after 9 at night when they were called to a home on Highway 48 near Bethesda Road for reports of a tow truck on fire. When they arrived, they found the truck completely engulfed in flames. It was extinguished by the region's fire services. Investigators say the damage is estimated around $150,000. They believe it was intentionally set as well. They're asking any witnesses or anyone with video from the area to give them a call. Niagara Regional Police homicide detectives investigating the deaths of 2 women in Fort Erie. Police received a 911 call just after 4 this morning about a disturbance possibly involving a gun at a home in Fort Erie. When they arrived, officers found the bodies in a residence on Niagara Parkway near Black Creek Road. Police say the investigation is in the early stages, so they do not have any more information to share at this time. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau saying any Canadians who still have international trips planned, you need to cancel them. Speaking in Ottawa today, Trudeau said the variants of the novel coronavirus identified in the UK, South Africa, and Brazil could change the situation drastically.
It is absolutely critical that everyone keeps doing their part to slow the spread of COVID-19. We owe it to ourselves, to our families, and to everyone around us.
We said that when these bats were
Vaccines are
set
coming.
20 years ago.
In a
You didn't
few
listen.
months, spring will be here. So now is not the time to abandon our efforts.
Trudeau warns that Canada could impose new restrictions on the border at any time and without warning. Up in 60 seconds, traffic and your extended forecast.
680 News Time, 10:20.
How can you do your part to keep Toronto sidewalks clear of ice and snow this winter? Easy.
Technically the U.S.
Make sure to shovel the area in front of your home or business within 12 hours of a snowfall. And clear enough space for people to physical distance. Make sure you don't throw snow on the roads. And finally, treat yourself to a nice warm cup of cocoa. That last one's optional, but I highly recommend it. Get to know the plan for snow at toronto.ca/snow.
Superfan with a super deal. The iHeart Winter Sales event is on now.
Like 3 different apps to do with clearing snow in this city.
OAC and no charge all-wheel drive on select models. Frontline workers receive 2% above invoice pricing on all new cars in stock. Your safety is our #1 priority. We have masks and gloves ready for you. Looking for a Hyundai? I'm your guy. Visit LandPartiasHyundai.com. Now 3 locations to serve you.
What happens if I put notices on one of these
Traffic and method to get around the world. Great gear.
This report is brought to you by Hakeem Optical. We've got the southbound Bayview ramp to the eastbound 401 closed. Westbound 401, it's the Nielsen ramp onto the highway. There is a crash west of Warden in the express blocking the right lane, but it's not causing any huge problems through here. It doesn't look too bad getting by. Don't have a great view of it. They've moved the camera to a worse shot, but anyway, it is there. It's not causing any slowdowns though. Westbound 401 west to the 404 in the collectors. A couple of lanes are getting closed there. It's 2 left lanes. And then approaching Mississauga Road, it's 2 right lanes that are going to be shut down as they get set up through here. That is causing just a bit of a slowdown west of Mississauga Road through to west of Winston Churchill. That's the construction zone, and the Winston Churchill ramps to and from the westbound 401 are closed because of it. The winter sale is on now at Hakeem Optical. Save 60% on all Hakeem designer frames, lenses, and coatings when you purchase 2 pair of prescription eyeglasses. Visit HakeemOptical.ca today. Next report at 10:31 with the forecast. Here's Natasha Ramsahai.
Watch for some slick spots overnight tonight into tomorrow morning because we do have some flurries. And as this cold front comes through, we're also going to drop down to -7. Wind chills by the morning. Now we're waking up to around -14. Some sunshine to start, increasing cloud tomorrow. Going to keep us dry through the day with a high of -3 and then trace to a centimeter or two of snow Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Not forecasting much more than that, even mixing in some rain showers Thursday afternoon as we get up to 4 degrees with that gusty southwest wind. Friday, we're back to mainly cloudy skies and lake effect flurries with that northwest wind. That means another cold front and temperatures falling from 0 down to -3. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday morning, those wind chills near -17. Tonight we're down to low -7 degrees.
Downtown Toronto right now, we're looking at a partly cloudy sky, -1, feeling like -7 at Pearson, -2, feeling like -7 under a partly cloudy sky. 680 News Time at 10:23.
As headmaster of St. Andrews College in Aurora, I'm often asked by parents why our school is right for their son.
The second you enter, you know you're a part of something truly amazing. There are tons of arts and extracurricular activities.
71 teams, 21 sports. There are so many opportunities to become a leader. 100% of our students are accepted to university.
The teachers sincerely care. They push you to do your best.
And I have brothers for life.
Experience for yourself what a St. Andrews College Day or boarding program can offer your son. Join us for our virtual open house on February 2nd.
Details at sac.on.ca.
As the pandemic continues,
It's never been more important to get trusted information.
for the latest on the COVID-19 numbers, the vaccine, and everything you need to know,
We're here for you.
on your radio, online, and on your device.
This is 680 News.
The latest report from BC's Child and Youth Advocates showing a staggering jump in kids with mental health issues being held against their will.
Although some improvements have been made over the last 3 years, the families suffering most are still Indigenous.
A lot of the youth didn't know their rights. We're taking youth in that are coming to the system for help, and the system is failing them.
Chief Judy Wilson is an executive member of the Union of BC Indian Chiefs who says there also needs to be a shift away from over-medicating kids.
The whole spectrum of services to youth, there's a lot of new therapies that we're not looking at.
She adds a much more inclusive traditional approach is needed to help children heal, and that's why she supports all 14 recommendations now under review by the provincial government. I'm Marcella Bernardo.
Meantime, the owner of a theater in Vancouver is so frustrated with the province's refusal to allow movie theaters to reopen that she's changing it to a sports bar temporarily. 680's Jonathan Seekers says a new marquee in front of the Rio Theater reads, "Screw the arts, we're becoming a sports bar now."
Corrine Lee says she'd much rather be running a cinema, but the province has left her with no choice.
We think it's absolutely ridiculous that the arts has been deemed unsafe when watching sports in a bar is considered safe. So we're just going to do what they tell us that's safe, but we want to point out how ridiculous it is.
Theaters have been closed in BC since November, and Lee says she and her staff are struggling emotionally and financially.
We're just trying to work with the rules and do the best we can to keep our doors open.
Now she's still working to meet with the province to discuss the health order and why theaters should be treated more like restaurants instead of events. She's been told that request is under review. I'm Jonathan Seekers.
Coming up in 60 seconds, we'll check in at the 680 News Business Center with Richard Southern. 680 News Time, 10:25.
Welcome back to the award season sales event at Nissan.
And here comes Sunsetra.
Already a winner of the JD Power Award for Best in Driver Appeal among compact cars in the U.S.
How could it not win with its radical redesign? Sentra is such a crowd pleaser.
Its intelligent emergency braking.
It's a showstopper.
Totally.
You too can drive home a winner. Squeeze the Sentra SV from the equivalent of just $55 weekly. Visit Nissan.ca or contact your Nissan dealer.
I get calls from 555
$240 monthly at 1.5% for 39 months with $9.95 down. Conditions apply. Does inline fiberglass do window replacements? Of course we do.
Hi, I'm Tom Rokicki of Inline Fiberglass. A lot of people ask me whether or not Inline does window replacements. We have been replacing vinyl, wood, and aluminum windows for over 30 years. No job is too big or too small. So let us beautify your home and improve your home energy efficiency. If your windows are leaky, call Tom Rokicki. For more information, visit us at our Factory Direct showroom or at inlinefiberglass.com.
It's on 1026.
The business report.
Southern
Netflix reports earnings after the bell, and investors clamor to buy the company's stock. The online video streamer actually reported a smaller than expected bottom line, delivering fourth quarter earnings per share of $1.19. The top line revenue number, though, was better than forecast at $6.64 billion. Net paid subscribers better than expected. They signed up 8.51 million in the quarter. I think of particular note, though, Netflix says it should be cash flow positive after 2021 and will not need external financing. It also says it will explore the option of stock buybacks. The shares jumped almost 10% in the extended trade. All right, meantime, how about this? Gun sales very strong across the United States, reportedly, as U.S. citizens buy weapons ahead of the Joe Biden inauguration. It's on fears that Biden may toughen up gun ownership. Ideas that have been floated by the Biden camp as regards gun restrictions include banning assault weapons, closing loopholes in background checks, and limiting the stockpile of weapons. We did see some strength for some of the gun stocks today. Stuart Ruger was higher at $72.28. Well, it's something we would never have even imagined a year ago, but finding an apartment in Toronto has never been easier. Toronto vacancy rates are near a record high, according to Urban Nation. The overall vacancy rate in the Greater Toronto area stands at 4.6%, up from just 1% a year ago. The consulting firm says it's a 50-year high. And the reason for this is said to be so many people leaving the city for the surrounding areas, low immigration, high unemployment, and a big drop in the number of students. TSX higher today, but just by 12 points, 17,957. The Dow was higher; it was up 116 points at 30,930. S&P up 30 points. The Nasdaq gained 198, and the Canadian dollar at 78.49 cents US. This is 680 News.
And now, an important message from the Canadian Natural Defense. It's cold season, and this year, more than ever, we need to protect ourselves. The wellness experts at Adrian Gagnon bring you zinc and vitamin C to help immune function, and echinacea for effective relief of cold symptoms when taken at the first symptoms. And now, all three are available at Walmart. The products may not be right for you. Always read and follow the label.
Your head says, make sound investments for the future. But your heart says, invest in that new sound system right now. With Advice Plus from Scotiabank, we can help you balance both, so you can live for today and save for tomorrow. Working together, we'll build a plan and add investment solutions along the way. So, the plan that helps you invest for tomorrow can still sound fantastic today. Get started at scotiabank.com/investing.
Why'd you close the Caribbean
Only from
operation?
Scotiabank.
Why does it cost so much money to withdraw money in Haiti?
Right now in downtown Toronto, we've got a partly cloudy sky, -1, feeling like -6. It's 10:30.
I read all the fine print.
Number one for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
It's Tuesday, January the 19th. Good evening. I'm Judy Friedman.
I'm Scott Burnett. Here's what's making news right now.
The city's first mass immunization clinic at the Metro Toronto Convention Center closing immediately thanks to a vaccine shortage. You'll have to roll up your sleeve. A Toronto employment lawyer says an employer can most definitely insist on employees getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Donald Trump's final farewell.
Thank you and farewell.
They said that to the EMS the next
is
day.
only just beginning.
The EMS said they would go on strike,
Show
so
them
the
you love
next
them this Valentine's with their favorite strain.
we won't be doing that.
The Blue Jays make another free agent addition. This time it's reliever Kirby Yates. The Maple Leafs get ready for the Oilers tomorrow as the Raptors prepare for the Heat. Sports at 45.
Netflix reports big subscriber growth. Investors clamor to buy the stock in the after-hours trade. TSX down, Nasdaq all closing with gains today. Business at 56.
The same reaction to not
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Checking your drive. Here's Craig here.
We have the Nielsen ramp to the westbound 401 shut down for the overnight, and then we have a collision on the westbound 401 west of Warden in the Express. It's only blocking a single right lane, and it's not causing any problems. Still flashing away through here. Construction west of the 404 and the collectors, 2 left lanes are blocked off, and then westbound 401 Mississauga Road to Winston Churchill, 2 right lanes are closed. Just minor slowdowns through here. It is single file. The Winston Churchill ramps to and from the westbound 401 are shut down. Southbound Davie ramp to the east 401 is closed as well. Eastbound QBW through Mississauga Road, left lanes closed. Set 427 at Rathburn into Collectors. The left lane's blocked through here as well. Next report's at 10:41 with the forecast. Here's Natasha Renta.
Cold front tonight will drop those temperatures down to -7, wind chill -14. We'll have some flurries tonight, but I'm going to keep us dry through tomorrow. Increasing clouds, so some good sunshine in the morning. 3, that wind out of the southwest will make it feel like -10. Through the night tonight, we're down to low -7, wind chill -14.
Downtown Toronto right now, partly cloudy, -1, feeling like -6. 6:80 news time, 10:32.
The all-new vaccination clinic at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre has closed following tonight's scheduled appointments. It's been ordered to close after more supply shortages of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine were announced by the federal government earlier today.
In a moment, we'll hear from a frustrated Premier Ford about the vaccine delays from Pfizer. But first, we're joined by our Michelle Mackey with more on how this is directly impacting Toronto.
Doors to the Metro Toronto Convention Centre clinic have closed, and it's unclear when they'll open again. The province shutting down the city's first mass immunization clinic after just 2 days of operation thanks to a vaccine shortage.
Obviously, very disappointing news, not only for us and our team, but certainly for the whole city.
Fire Chief Matthew Pegg, Toronto's COVID-19 incident commander, says even though the site was issuing the Moderna vaccine, the Pfizer shortage triggered a reallocation of the supply chain. But as soon as the vaccines become available again, Chief Pegg assures they'll be ready to reopen. As for when that day might come,
at this point in time, we don't know.
In the meantime, those with appointments are being emailed cancellation notices. I'm Michelle Mackey.
Meantime, Premier Doug Ford is calling on President-elect Joe Biden to share doses of their Pfizer vaccine with Canada. The direct appeal comes as the province learned it would receive none of the doses expected next week. The Premier says he's not angry at the Prime Minister, but is frustrated by the pharmacized treatment of Canada.
But I'd be on that phone call every single day. I'd be up that guy's yin-yang so far with a firecracker, he wouldn't know what hit him from Pfizer. I would not stop until we get these vaccines. Other countries, small countries, populations of 5 million. We're part of the G7. We're a major player in the world.
The doses he is mentioning would come from Pfizer's Michigan plant, and he's asking Biden for 1 million doses.
A member of the province's COVID-19 vaccination distribution task force has resigned from the position after traveling outside of the country last month. Linda Hasenfratz has stepped down, the Ford government accepting her resignation in a statement today. The CEO of the automotive part maker Linmar Corporation apologized for her decision to travel. It comes after several officials traveled outside the country over the holidays, even though public health was urging Canadians to refrain from non-essential trips. In a statement released today, the Ford government continues to urge Ontarians stay home to stop the spread of COVID.
So if you're not working from home, can your employer insist that you get vaccinated before coming into the office? 680's Phil Martino is speaking to one Toronto employment lawyer and joins us with the answer.
Toronto Employment and Labor Relations lawyer Howard Levitt says employers can insist on employees being vaccinated, and they can even fire them if they refuse.
So what? There's sufficient vaccines available, and public health recommends it, then the employer will be at liberty to require its employees to take it.
Levitt says employers must accommodate employees for certain human rights issues based on a disability or for religious reasons. Stuart Rudner, another Toronto employment lawyer, says Levitt is taking a very extreme approach. According to Rudner, this is going to come down to balancing privacy rights and workplace safety.
Safety often prevails, but only if there's no lesser way to achieve the defined goal. If you can achieve the goal of safety while intruding upon someone's rights less, that's
can't force anybody to take a needle.
And that's what everyone is currently debating.
I'm Phil Martino.
680 news time at 10:36. The York Region COVID-19 Enforcement Task Force laying dozens of charges at some big box stores are among the businesses facing fines. Members of the task force inspected close to 2,000 businesses in the last week to ensure the compliance with current public health restrictions and measures. Officials say most businesses and customers in York Region are adhering to COVID-19 safety measures, but there were 45 charges laid against residents and businesses. Costco and Richmond Hill is among the businesses charged, having to do with physical distancing at checkout lanes. Walmart on Major Mackenzie and Vaughan also charged for overcrowding and lack of physical distancing. They have been fined $880.
Dog owners across the province are upset that pet grooming isn't considered an essential service. Unlike people who can easily go without a haircut, dogs actually need them. Otherwise, they can be at risk of infections or health concerns. Malia Sheep from City News has more.
Her nails are breaking. They are so long, which result in her bleeding.
The owner of a 3-year-old Labradoodle is trying to take matters into her own hands. But like many other dog owners, it isn't working out too well.
She will not let me brush her, do any kind of maintenance on her.
While veterinary services and pet food stores are functioning in some capacity, dog groomers aren't deemed an essential service in Ontario. One Parry-Sound dog groomer calling on the government to add those in their line of work to the list of essential services.
I've been asked like so many times now to groom people's dogs against restrictions, and it puts me in such a bad situation because I want to help them. I want to help them so badly.
Michelle Ogilvie says at a time many Canadians are dealing with financial strain, by not allowing groomers to operate, the government is adding to the burden. Malika Sheikh, City News.
Donald Trump sending out his final address as president. Our Karen Ciano joining us live with the video. Karen.
Yes, Scott, Donald Trump spending his last night secluded in the White House after his video goodbye to Americans. The departing president offering luck, prayers, and best wishes to the next administration, but not saying Joe Biden's name and offering no regrets.
The world respects us again. Please don't lose that respect.
And Trump vowing his political movement will not dwindle.
I want you to know that the movement we started is only just beginning.
To this day, Trump has not actually conceded, and as he heads for the exit, he hasn't acknowledged his role in the horror of the January 6th Capitol riots. Ahead of Biden's big day, Washington on high alert as the scars from the Capitol insurrection and an inauguration intersect. Reporting live, I'm Karen Ciano.
And now you can say I love you with pot. A Toronto florist is selling marijuana bouquets for Valentine's Day. Paralumen Flora has teamed up with Greenport Cannabis for this initiative. According to Paralumen Flora's website, the Higher Love bouquet is made up of colorful blooms and 7 grams of cannabis of your choice. The cannabis flower will be opened from its packing and rewrapped safely in food-grade plastic. Jewel and pearls, each bouquet costs $80. And you'll have to pick it up from the Greenport Cannabis Store.
So do you just get a bottle and put them in water? Is that what you do with that?
I don't know if it grows the marijuana.
You get more out of
it? Maybe.
Increase your yield?
We'll check gas prices next.
680 News Time, 10:39.
In times like these, shouldn't your money work even harder for you? We think so. That's why at Duca Credit Union, you get no-fee checking accounts. You also get high interest on deposits and investments and low mortgage rates. Plus, you get to share in the profits. That's the Duca difference. And now, get rates as low as 1.79% on a 5-year fixed mortgage when you switch to Duca. Find out how at mortgage.duca.com. Do more, be more, achieve more with Duca Credit Union. Conditions apply.
Now the 680 News gas price update. Info predicts the price will not change at midnight, holding steady at just under $1.12 a liter at most GTA stations. Traffic and weather together next. 680 News Time, 10:40. When businesses join forces with 680 News, not only does it get their company's message out there, it's also the start of a beautiful relationship.
Who knows where this is all going to go, but we always have a lot of fun, don't we?
Bill Coy of Coy Brothers is never at a loss for words, especially when it comes to his experiences with 680 News.
Well, Coy Brothers, who knows what the heck we do? We do all kinds of things.
But he still advertises his lawn and grounds maintenance equipment business to the GTA by using 680 News.
Well, with 14 family members, we have to grow the business and to reach the widest audience. 680 is what our customers listen to, and it's worked very well for us. Regardless of what nationality, whether it's men, women, everyone listens to 680.
And Bill, do you recommend people to advertise with 680?
Yeah, we definitely recommend 680. There's no question about it. Unless you're one of our competitors, then no, this doesn't work at all.
680 News works for Coy Brothers. Get 680 News working for you. Visit 680ads.com. That's 680ads.com. 680 News Time, 10:41. Time for a check of traffic and weather together. First, a look at the roads. Here's Craig Gear.
This report is brought to you by Mr. Lube. So it's construction and one crash, but it's been cleared away. So northbound Meadowvale ramp to the west 401 is closed. Both the Nielsen ramps to the west 401 are also blocked off. Our collision west to Warden in the Express is gone. We have the 404 Express to Collector transfer now shut down. Approaching Mississauga Road, 2 right lanes are shut down. This goes past Winston Churchill, so it is a bit slow. It's single file west of Mississauga Road through to approaching Winston Churchill. This construction is also blocking the Winston Churchill ramps to and from the westbound 401 tonight. Southbound Bayview ramp to the east 401's also blocked off. Mr. Lube is open every day for safe stay in your car's services. From warranty-approved oil changes to tires, Mr. Lube, proudly Canadian since 1976. Next report's at 10:51. Let's check the forecast now with Natasha Ramsahai.
Ups and downs in the temperature department tonight. It's going down to -7. Wind chill, -14 in the morning. Watch for flurries tonight, which could make roads and sidewalks just a little bit slick in the morning, although it is going to be sunny to start. Increasing afternoon cloud with a high of -3, wind chill -10. Trace to 2 centimeters falling Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So another slick start to the day. And then Thursday, it's going to be windy, but out of the southwest. That's going to pump up some milder air up to 4 degrees. Could see some wet flurries, even mixing with rain showers by the afternoon. Tonight, a cold one as we head down to a low -7, wind chill -14. Right now, downtown Toronto is sitting at -1. Feels like -6 under a partly cloudy sky, and it's -2 degrees, partly cloudy at Pearson this hour. 680 News Time, 10:43. Netflix has many reasons to smile after their most recent subscribers and earnings report. Hey, good news or bad?
It's been a week of good news for Netflix. On the heels of their series The Crown and Ozark tying for the most Critics' Choice Awards nominations, the streamer says they added a better-than-expected 8.5 million subscribers in the most recent quarter. That brings their global subscriber number to 203.7 million, driven in no small part by the pandemic-prompted surge in streaming consumption. It also translates to about $6.6 billion in revenue. Christopher Watson, ABC News.
Just ahead on 680 News, today's top headlines and your sports update.
It's a new year, and Maple Auto Mall wants to get you back on the road. Our largest incentives are on now on all your favorite brands. Honda, Toyota, Mazda, Hyundai, Nissan, Volkswagen, and Acura. Get 0% financing, cashback incentives, and no payment for 90 days on select models. Book an appointment to see us. We're open by appointment with safety measures in place. Visit mapleautomall.ca.
We got summer. Are you ready? Are you ready?
It's a whole new way to get ready for boating season. The virtual Toronto International Boat Show. Connect with exhibitors, attend seminars, and plan your summer. Shop for thousands of boats and accessories. Life is so much better with a boat. January 18th to 24th.
We are summer. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
It's Toronto Boat Show.
Register for free at torontoboatshow.com.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
A partly cloudy sky, -1 in downtown Toronto. With the wind, it feels like -6. Good evening. I'm Judy Friedman.
I'm Scott Burnett. Here are the top stories right now.
Not 6 weeks, not even 1 week. The new COVID-19 vaccination site at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre that opened yesterday has closed tonight as Canada deals with a supply shortage of the Pfizer vaccine. We learned earlier today that no new doses will be arriving next week because of issues at the European manufacturing plant in Belgium. Premier Ford has asked the incoming U.S. president for 1 million doses. A member of the province's COVID-19 vaccine distribution task force resigning after it was revealed she traveled to Barbados during the holidays. And can your employer force you to get the vaccine before coming into the office? 680 News is speaking to employment lawyers to find out.
This scam will disappear. It's supposed to start talking.
Now time for 680 Sports from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Rob Wong.
According to MLB Network's John Morosi and Sportsnet 590 The Fan's Joey Vendetta, the Blue Jays are now the front runners to sign free agent outfielder George Springer. Morosi adds that the Jays gained momentum in their pursuit of Springer earlier today, and that the outfielder could finalize his plans within the next 24 hours. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays have agreed to a 1-year deal with free agent reliever Kirby Yates worth $5.5 million, according to Sportsnet's Ben Nicholson-Smith. Baseball Hall of Fame Bay pitcher Don Sutton has passed away at the age of 75. Sutton was a 300-game winner, most notably with the LA Dodgers. The Maple Leafs getting ready to host Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers on Wednesday night. Head coach Sheldon Keefe says the team will once again play 7 defensemen and start Freddie Anderson between the pipes. Finals from the NHL to pass your way. The Jets edged the Senators 4-3 in overtime, while the Capitals lost 5-4 to the Penguins in OT. And to Sportsnet.ca for the rest of your NHL scores. Raptors back at it tomorrow, home to the Miami Heat. Toronto making a roster move, waiving center Alex Len. And ESPN's Adam Schefter says that Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes is expected to practice tomorrow, but that he remains in concussion protocol. Schefter says it's too early to tell if Mahomes will be able to play in Sunday's AFC Championship game against Buffalo. Sports at 15 and 45, past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
If your head wants to plan for retirement, but your heart wants to enjoy life now, the Scotia ARIA Retirement Program can help. No matter where you're starting from, we can create a unique path to help reach your vision of retirement. And as you grow, this flexible plan can grow with you, so you can enjoy what's important to you today as you get closer to your retirement goals tomorrow. Get started at scotiabank.com/ARIA and learn more about the Scotia ARIA Retirement Program. What happens when you sleep well? You train well, you focus well, you eat well, you play well. Whatever your New Year's resolution, it all starts with better sleep, and that begins the Sleep Country. The New Year, New You event is on now. Get great deals on all your sleep essentials like mattresses, bedding, and pillows. Our sleep experts are online at sleepcountry.ca to help you wake up to better sleep. Sleep well, stay well. Sleep Country.
This is All News Radio 680 News. Toronto police say a man has died after a 3-vehicle crash in Etobicoke at Kickling Avenue and Belfield Road near Highway 409. He was rushed to hospital this afternoon where he died of his injuries. Roads were closed in that area for the investigation. They have since reopened. Saskatchewan's Premier Scott Moe says he's asked public health to step up its enforcement for COVID-19 rule breakers beyond fines. It comes after a video surfaced of young people dancing and mingling in a bar in Regina.
Well, the question I ask myself is, do we need to punish all of the restaurants, any that are adhering to the public health orders that are in place, because there are these few that are not, and I would say no, we don't.
Moe says he doesn't believe his Saskatchewan party government needs to introduce new health restrictions to stop the spread, but needs people to follow the current one. Well, although last year was a challenging one, city planners here in Toronto were able to adapt. Deputy Mayor and Chair of the Planning and Housing Committee, Anna Vilau, says it was still a productive year.
We were basically able to do the same amount of work that we did the year before. Same studies, same pressures, and they did deliver.
Vilau says there will be a lot of work this year with a focus on the city's recovery and rebuild efforts, as well as creating more affordable housing, investing in communities, and tackling climate change. This is 680 News. A couple will have to pay a $460 fine after it's alleged they fake coughed on people and gym equipment in Vancouver.
This happened on Saturday night at a fitness center around Falls Creek, right near Vancouver Police Headquarters. The gym owner came out, flagged down 2 officers for help. BPD Sergeant Steve Addison says when members spoke to the pair, a 60-year-old man and his 25-year-old girlfriend, they said they fake coughed because they felt people were looking at them strangely.
Obviously, it wasn't appreciated by the people who were in the gym, and it wasn't appreciated by the police officers, so they were given each a ticket for $230 for failing to wear their mask in a place where they were required to wear masks.
Yes, the pair don't belong to the gym, and officers have dealt with them before, but did not elaborate on any possible criminal records. I'm Sonia Aslam.
In 60 seconds, a check of traffic and your extended forecast.
At Toyota, safety's always included. That's why our vehicles come with Toyota Safety Sense. It's a suite of intelligent safety features that other car companies charge extra for. Why would safety be extra? That's like buying a TV and finding out the remote is extra. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2020 Corolla LE for as low as $60 weekly at 1.69% APR for 60 months with $0 down. Ask your local Ontario Toyota dealer about contactless shopping or to book an appointment today.
Does your credit card debt keep you up at night? I know mine did. Hi, I'm Adam, and 6 years ago, I was no different, so I started Newboro. Our proven step-by-step system helps homeowners eliminate debt and save thousands, like Tina.
Now I sleep at night, my debts are paid off, and I only make one monthly payment.
Read hundreds of other 5-star Google reviews and apply today to start saving.
Use your home to get a loan with Newboro.
Tell us how to make the money to do that.
3115.
680 News Time, 10:51. Now time for traffic and weather together on the ones. A look at the roads now with Craig Gear.
Not a bad drive. We're looking at a bit of construction out and about. This report brought to you by Hakeem Optical. No major delay, just a little slow as you go through the construction out in the west end of the westbound 401. Well, we'll start with southbound Bayview. This ramp here onto the eastbound 401's been closed. We also have the northbound Meadowvale ramp to the west 401 shut down. Got the right lane blocked in the collectors through Nielsen, so both the Nielsen ramps to the westbound 401 have been shut down as well. At the 404, the express collector transfer has been shut down, and then a bit of a delay west of Mississauga Road. Not a delay, just you're coming off cruise control. Two right lanes are blocked off, single file, only the single left lane is open. This construction zone stretches past Winston Churchill, so the Winston Churchill ramps to and from the westbound 401 are also closed off. The winter sale is on now at Hakeem Optical. Save 60% on all Hakeem designer frames, lenses, and coatings when you purchase 2 pair of prescription eyeglasses. Visit HakeemOptical.ca today. Next report's at 11:01 with the forecast now. Here's Natasha Ramsahai.
Watch for some slick spots overnight tonight into tomorrow morning because we do have some flurries. And as this cold front comes through, we're also going to drop down to -7. Wind chills by the morning. We're waking up to around -14. Some sunshine to start, increasing cloud tomorrow. Going to keep us dry through the day with a high of -3 and then trace to a centimeter or 2 of snow Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Not forecasting much more than that. Even mixing in some rain showers Thursday afternoon as we get up to 4 degrees with that gusty southwest wind. Friday, we're back to mainly cloudy skies and lake effect flurries with that northwest wind. That means another cold front and temperatures falling from 0 down to -3 this weekend, Saturday and Sunday morning. Those wind chills near -17. Tonight we're down to a low of -7 degrees.
Right now sitting at -1 in downtown Toronto, feeling like -6 when you factor in the wind. It's -2 degrees at Pearson. Coming up at the top of the hour, just 2 days after opening, the city's new COVID-19 vaccination site at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre is closed. The stoppage comes as Canada is set to receive no new doses of the Pfizer vaccine next week, as there are issues at the European plant in Belgium. Latest on this and today's other top stories all coming up at 11.
A no-brainer is a decision with one correct answer. Question: is it worth investing in a home office? Let's rephrase that. Do you want a raise? Look at all the money you're saving doing the same job from home. No commute, no lunches, no daycare, the tax benefits. Take the money. AGM can turn your basement into a home office in 3 weeks.
Apparently, this is a car thing.
Pull now and get $5,000 off your new basement.
When you need to know. Breaking news. Premier Doug Ford says that includes a stay-at-home order effective 12:01 a.m. Thursday.
Traffic. If you only have the left lane getting by this crash, it's involving at least a couple tractor trailers. Weather.
This could be an area where we do see some freezing rain, in addition to a bit of a mix across the GTA. When you need to know. We're here. This is 680 News.
Homicide detectives have given more details into a murder from last fall that saw a man gunned down in his car in Toronto's North End. Shane Stanford was sitting in his Acura the night of October 7th near Bathurst in the 401 when he was shot in the head and killed. Toronto Police Detective Michael McGinn says Stanford was not the specific target of the shooting. A 27-year-old girl had already been charged in connection with the murder. Now McGinn says police are looking for a third suspect. In 60 seconds, the business report with Richard Southern.
680 News Time,
okay, 10:55. So what the fuck one piece at a time, one song at a time.
How's your blood pressure? Pretty good. What if I said fix
and it's the last story of
25%, or maybe no down payment at all? Self-employed, bad credit, lots of consumer debt.
I want to hear how much money the Ontario Cannabis Store lost.
You want to make the most important financial decision of your life, and we want to help you make it, no matter what your finances are like. Northwood Mortgage, 416-960.
469-8130. Visit us
building, I
online
don't know.
at
How do I do that?
northwoodmortgage.com. License 10349.
Make your next career move with 2 Men in a Truck. The company is hiring motivated and enthusiastic team members for mover, driver, and customer service positions. And if you're looking for more, professional advancement is always a possibility. In fact, 75% of 2 Men in a Truck managers started in frontline positions. Now is the time to apply. Visit 2minutetruck.ca and click careers.
You try too hard. You try too hard. You try too hard. You just said fuck the world, we don't hire anybody.
680 News Business Report, here's Richard Southern.
Good evening. Netflix in with earnings after the closing bell. And before we get to the results, which are being very well received by investors, the company also revealed what its most watched shows and movies were over the past quarter. Any guesses what the #1 show was? It was The Queen's Gambit, which Netflix says was viewed by 62 million households in just the first 28 days on the service. As far as movies were concerned, it was The Midnight Sky, starring and directed by George Clooney, which was the biggest original film in the quarter. Netflix said 72 million households watched that in the first 4 weeks. Netflix stock a big winner, up 13% of the after-hours trade. The results for the quarter pretty good all around, even though the bottom line was a little bit softer than expected. Anthony Acoli with TV Bank.
Moving up the top line, they did beat revenue about $6.64 billion, just slightly above estimates, as you mentioned. Earnings came in slightly below expectations.
Yeah, but they throw money around in funny ways. How do they still owe money? That's the question.
$8.5 million in the fourth quarter.
How many people are going to keep paying to watch that shit a second
and
and
forecasting
third
another 6 million pay net additions in Q1. So, very strong results for Netflix.
All right, on the broader markets today, we saw some gains. TSX was up 12 points to 17,957. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 116 to 30,930. S&P was up 30 points. The Nasdaq up 198. General Motors stock a big winner, up more than 9% after Microsoft announced it was investing in Cruise, which is GM's autonomous vehicle project. Price for gold moving higher is at $1,839 US dollars the ounce, and the Canadian dollar edges up to 78.51 cents US. Hang tight, the top stories are seconds away on 680 News.
It's time to rethink what rest means. In fact, it's time to take sleep not just a little, but a lot more seriously. And Casper is here to help. With Casper's amazing sleep products, more people than ever have been getting the sleep they deserve. It's time, because now they're having a sale. From the most comfortable mattresses to the softest sheets, save 10% on everything you'll need to reset your rest at Casper.ca. Exclusions may apply. See Casper.ca/promo for more details and end date. Rediscover the thrill of the road at Coventry North Land Rover. Step into an all-new Land Rover Defender today. Winner of the Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year. The Defender celebrates 50 years of unprecedented sophistication, both on or off the road, wherever your journey takes you. Our team of experienced brand ambassadors will build the perfect Defender just for you. Visit Coventry North Land Rover today, the Greater Toronto Area's most accessible Jaguar Land Rover dealership, located conveniently at Highway 400 and 407 in Woodbridge.
Now, 680 News regional weather conditions for Walmart.
New year, healthy you. Walmart knows wellness. If you need any advice on healthy choices this year, just ask your Walmart pharmacist. This message is brought to you by Pharmascience. In Newmarket this hour, partly cloudy sky, -3, with the wind feels like -7. The same conditions reported this hour in Richmond Hill, and in downtown Toronto right now, partly cloudy, -1 feels like -6. It's 11 o'clock.
On for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
This is Tuesday, January 19th. Good evening, I'm Scott Burnett.
And I'm Judy Freeman. Here's what's making news this hour.
Toronto's first mass COVID-19 immunization clinic halted.
We have no choice but to immediately suspend the operation of the proof of concept clinic.
The result of a vaccine shortage.
Are you hesitant about getting the COVID-19 vaccine? Well, it looks like you may not have a choice. A Toronto employment lawyer says employers can insist on employees being vaccinated.
A personal attack from Ontario's Minister of Long-Term Care against the leader of the NDP opposition.
And I'll just say, how disgusting it is.
Andrea Horvath accused by name of fear-mongering.
What's going on here?
Goodwill goodwill gesture from Donald Trump as he wishes his successor success. But in his presidential farewell, Trump left 2 critical words out.
Reports say the Blue Jays making day on the Bay and Wall Street exchanges. Netflix impresses with earnings, and Canadians eating more fruits and veggies. We'll let you know which one sold the best over the past year in business. 26.
Big news at 11:01.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Craig here. This report is brought to you by Aaron Waxman and Associates. So it's really just ramps and a few transfers that we have to talk about that's closed off. It's all because of live lane closure. We're not seeing any delays here. So we've got the southbound Navy ramp to the eastbound 401 closed off. Northbound Manamail ramp to the west 401's closed. Both the Nielsen ramps to the west 401 shut down as well. The transfer into the collectors at the 404 on the west 401's been blocked off as well. And the Winston Churchill ramps to and from the westbound 401 closed tonight. South 427, they've now shut down the transfer into the collectors at Radford, so you won't be able to transfer there if that's your usual transfer spot. If your disability claim has been denied for any reason, call Aaron Waxman at 416-661-4878 or on your cell phone at pound LTD. Next report's at 11:11, and with the forecast now, here's Natasha Ranza.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
Some flurries tonight in Toronto. Winds switching around to the northwest. So this is a cold front that's going to do that, and it's also going to drop our temperatures to -7. Morning wind chills near -14. It is going to be sunny, though, for the first half of the day before we increase the cloud. A high of -3 with a wind chill of -10. That southwest wind gusting up to 40 kilometers per hour. Tonight, down to a low of -7 degrees.
Right now, downtown -1, feeling like -6.